Welcome to the show.
Now, see, that's perky music, unlike the stuff that puts me to sleep from 5 weeks ago. That was handy, though, when I was trying to get to sleep, so it was good. I'm thinking about taking Gemini out for a spin and trying to see if it come up with little 30-second stingers. That would be kind of cool, because Gemini does that now.
Yeah.
Whoa, I wasn't aware this. Gemini does audio now. I mean, I knew it did audio, but music, sweet.
If you have like, I think you have to have like the ultra plan, which I do.
You guys don't have the ultra plan, I do. Yeah.
GE. And was it an early release? I would be a horrible spy. I'm told all sorts of things that are early and under NDA, and I could never keep them straight in my head. Is this released or not? Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, I'm a
flip over here of my pro plan. Like, I don't have anything.
We have to have everybody look into the light here while we zap you all.
I think you could already get to it through AI Studio with the right model. Where you can basically give it like a text thing and it generates 30 seconds. And it can generate both instrumentals and vocals. So it can do like a rhyming couplet kind of thing as a song. But 30 seconds right now is what it's limited to.
So speaking of AI Studio, I actually created an app this past week that takes a very detailed description of my boss and generates pictures of him based upon prompts. So you can type in any prompt of my boss. What do you want him to do? Generates a picture of him. And then this is the best part. I set it up so that it can mint it as an NFT on the Ethereum blockchain. So you can you can literally through my Flutter app mint NFTs of my boss. He was like, thrilled.
What have I ever done to deserve this?
Yeah, right.
He's been my boss for 2 weeks, and
he's already a meme.
Right?
He's already a meme. Yeah, wow, that's pretty crazy. That's pretty crazy. We should probably introduce ourselves and stuff.
Just some brief introductions, briefly.
Yeah.
Briefly,
very briefly. My name's Sam Lightfoot, community leader, CTO at Dev Angels London, and you can follow me on Twitter and other places at Dev Angels London. Randall.
I'm Randall Schwartz. I'm a Dart and Flutter Google developer expert since the beginning of the program 7 years ago. For this show, I am also the question magician, which means that I am watching the chat for Q: at the beginning of a string, It is a
string, I guess.
It is a string. Yeah, it is technically a string.
Those strings that are being shared amongst all of us in real time. Those strings, yeah. I think we call them chat strings. All right, so looking for Q: at the beginning of that. And if so, I will flag it for us to handle as a panel. If you don't put Q: in front of it, I'll presume it's just y'all talking amongst yourselves. And I might just answer it myself directly, or I might just ignore it. So be prepared for that. I also spend most of my time answering questions on all the socials. So if there's a social out there that talks about Flutter, I'm probably on it and active on it. There you go.
Danielle.
Sure. I'm Danielle Cox. I'm the Flutter tech lead for a small team of Flutter engineers at a startup called Ardly, and I'm one of the Flutteristas organizers. And that's a job I'm very proud of. So if you haven't heard of us and you want to find out more, hit me up at any time, pretty much anywhere, and I would do that. John.
Yeah, John Weezy. So I manage the Flutter community Medium, so handling any submissions and things like that folks have in the community that they want to post out on the Flutter community Medium page. And after many discussions in the last couple of weeks, I've decided that I'm just going to go on my own, and so I'm getting things in place to form my own company and focus primarily on one of my apps that's been out there and taking that to a little bit higher level than it's been at. Hopefully in the next few months, getting ready to release that with a bunch of updates. So, and other than that,
get set.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, get things set for that. Yeah. Spike it into the ground or something. Yeah,
sure.
Yeah. Other than that, like Randall, I hang out these days. I have a lot more time to hang out in different places and answer questions as I'm working on my app. So that's me.
So for the audience, start again from the audience. Feel free to get your questions in and any remarks. We're doing some live coding. We'll continue work on the Journal Club app today. And if you want to share some code or anything else,
are we going to introduce Matthew?
Yeah, we got
sorry, Matthew. You're here. I keep you on the slides. You're on the slides, Matthew. Sorry.
Yes.
Hi, I'm Matthew. I forget that I exist sometimes. It's cool. I used to be a senior mobile developer at a large bank, and that is no longer true. My title has changed. I'm now senior innovation engineer, whatever the heck that means. So I need to go update my LinkedIn. But that's I've been working in Flutter since shortly after the 1.0 release. But my main thing is the YouTube channel that is still being worked on, despite that it has been like 2 months without a video upload at this point. But check me out on YouTube after the stream, not right now. After the stream, go look up Makerinator on YouTube. You'll find me there. I think most people watching probably know about that already. But I work on cool stuff and weird uses of Flutter. And that's me. Thanks for having me.
Any spoilers as to what the next video is going to be?
You know what? Actually, yes. Let me open up this box and I will hold up what's inside of it. And you guys can try to guess what this is. So
be careful it doesn't throw up a whole bunch of glitter out.
Right.
The boxes can do anything these days. I've seen YouTube videos. Boxes can do anything.
Yes.
Oh,
I know.
Yeah. I got you, Randall. Simon, go through the do's and don'ts, and I'll get this opened up here.
Do you want to do it, Randall?
Just it's all the standard stuff. Be nice, be respectful. Don't post anything that's adult or rude or offensive. Don't promote anything. If your face isn't on screen, you can't promote anything, and you can't paste URLs in the chat even. So we don't see those. Nobody sees those. The URLs are stripped away. So don't even try to promote things like that. Don't spam. Don't post the same thing again and again. It just annoys us. And if you're posting a question for the second time, you lose your place in line. I take you out of the first one and put you in the second one. So don't do that. No harassments permitted of any kind. We do have ban hammers. We can use them. It's been a long time since we've had to, so that's good. You guys just keep being good, but do have a good time, because we have a good time sharing what we know with you. That's why we do this week after week. Indeed. And we would hope that you're having a good time listening to us, or at least being sometimes slightly amused or confused. That's our goals.
Do you want to do this bit, John?
Yeah, sure. So like Randall mentioned, if you're sharing a link, nobody will see it except you. So don't share links. If you want to have us review some code, or you need to supply some code to have us answer a question for you, head on over to just.new, give it a title, give it a file name that ends in Dart, so we get lovely formatting, and paste your code in there. Once you save it, you'll get a link, or the URL will change in the address bar. Basically grab that long hash number at the very end there, copy that, paste that into your comment, and we can use that to then look at the code.
Excellent.
It's a long hex string, so everything that's 0 through 9 and A through F in a sequence there.
Everything after that last slash.
Yes.
So are you ready for the hint?
Yes.
I got the
Bring it on.
Box open. No glitter.
Are those
So,
cards? Tarot cards?
They are tarot cards.
They are tarot
Yes.
cards.
ooh.
They are tarot cards.
Oh.
So
Oh.
I'm not going to give you
True.
any more of a hint than that.
You've got a set
Wow.
of the coding tarots, haven't you?
I don't. I don't.
Ooh.
So they did
You
this
get
at
set,
FlutterCon
you?
Berlin. I didn't collect them all. So I've got like one or two of them, but I never managed to collect the full set of Berlin.
I have to get you a
So-
set. I have to get you a set.
Ah.
Then you can use those.
Oh my God, that would be hysterical for the video. That would be hysterical. Yeah, dope.
Right. Yeah, I think we already got some stuff coming in.
We got a couple.
And we got one.
So there is
we
a
got
bit of
one.
Flutter news. There is a bit of
Yes.
Flutter news, if I
Yeah.
could throw it out there. Flame Game Jam has just been announced. So it is, I want to say March 6th through the 14th. So I should have had the itch.io page up. I could have shared my screen
Something
here.
like that.
But yeah, if you want to participate, definitely check that out. I have not committed to participating myself yet. It depends on where I am on this project, but yeah, definitely. If you are interested in game dev at all, this is a great excuse to dip your toes into a project. And the cool thing about Flame, for me personally, working with it, is it already uses Dart, right? So I don't have to context switch to a different language. I don't have to context switch to C# for Unity, or C++ for Unreal, or Lua for, I think it's the Love engine. It just uses like everything that's already in my head, right? And so if you want to get into game dev, Flame is a great place to start. And the documentation is really, really good. And there is a whole delightful ecosystem of packages that you can use to plug into the Flame game engine that extends it. If you want to do anything physics-based, Box 2D is fantastic, and there is a port of it called Forge 2D that you can use. So definitely plug that and check it out.
Yeah, they got a pretty active Discord server as well for Flame. Yeah, it's really great. Built a few things in it.
The Discord server is put up with so many stupid questions from me. So if they'll put up with my dumb questions, they'll put up with your dumb questions. So definitely check it out.
And somewhat vaguely related to that is our first question, which is from Rafael. Who's seen Fluorite? Been a lot of announcements about Fluorite, but there hasn't been much to say because it's just the one presentation at FOSDEM talking about how Toyota is adopting a 3D game engine into their dashboard displays.
Yeah.
What?
So this is it's Fluorite.game is the official site for it with the Fluorite review. They're saying they're going to have a high performance ECS or entity component system, which is very similar to what I was working on with back in the day. We could actually, oh look, entity, transform, collider. Yeah, basically using the widget system to provide the components to the entities and so on. Yeah, nice way of doing it. Model defined touch trigger zones, which is nice.
Yeah.
Oh, this is a 3D engine. Very cool.
And then they're saying with Google's filament renderer, then they can leverage the graphics API with Vulkan and stuff like that.
I can't wait to see games by this. But
I
Hot
think
Reload. Oh my
Hot
God.
Reload.
Hot Reload. What a great thing for game development.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just good for everything.
What is Google's filament system?
They were did we lose John?
Don't
We
know.
seem to have, yes.
John's frozen? No.
Hey, he's back.
I'm back. Yes.
Yeah.
I don't know. Something kicked in on my machine that like just took it down for a second. So
Those darn torrents.
So yeah, so Fluorite.game is that official page. That's all that's up there right now, like a page with some screenshots to say more coming soon. However, as you said, there is the talk where they explained about it in at FOSDEM this year. There's a video which apparently isn't playing right now. Will it play? Oh, it does. Okay. So I'll pop that in the chat if anyone wants to watch it. That goes into more detail and then there's a couple of articles that have been posted around what it is and what it isn't. These are all just based off of literally those two things, right? The site and the FOSDEM.
Right.
So, but
we don't know more than that. Yeah, we only know what we've seen so far. Yes. So,
Google's filament renderer you were asking about.
I was, yes. I mean, if it's mentioning filament, I'm guessing it's related to building it up, sort of like a.
No, I saw this. Yeah. Hang on. Here you go. Filament. Filament is a real-time, physically based rendering engine for Android, iOS, Windows, Linux, Mac, and WebGL2. Nice. That sounds perfect.
Yeah.
WebGL should run on. Shouldn't WebGL use on web? Right.
Should.
Sorry.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Web. What did it say? WebGL2.
Yeah.
Oh, there's a page for it. There you go.
Oh. Are there any graphics?
Repos,
there's videos. No, not videos. Darn it.
These are examples of the renderer, but
that's pretty.
It looks sharp.
I remember them showing off these images before. It wasn't this far along when I last looked at it. It was a while ago. We've got material system, physically based rendering.
Time to get good at Blender.
My Blender skills are so bad. Like, if you want me to CAD something up, I can do that all day long, no problem.
Right.
But like the moment we go into Blender, it's like my brain just goes.
Yeah. I was playing for a little while with the MCP with Blender, and that was clever. I could say, put a torus here, put a red ball on the top, and it would just do it. It was really spooky. Yeah.
Okay, then try to put this one up. Okay, I mean, like there's a lot here, there's a lot to it, right?
Yeah.
Cool stuff.
I mean, it's one of those things where you really need to, get into it. I'm not seeing anything particular around its API. Horrible.
Filament might run on WebGL, but Fluorite uses Vulkan and SDL, and most likely Toyota's custom embedder, which is open sourced. Very cool. I didn't know Toyota open sourced their custom embedder. That's cool.
Yep.
Use dark mode.
A lot of that Toyota Flutter stuff is done within 10 miles of here because they got a Portland office for Toyota Flutter.
Well, I mean, sorry, what those you said it might run on. It runs on Vulkan as well. You're saying that, right?
Or it uses Vulkan and SDL.
No, what I'm trying to say is Filament was saying it's not just WebGL. Oh. It's WebGL on web, but it supports Android and iOS. Obviously, Android through Vulkan, right? So,
we'll see.
It makes sense.
I think there was a question in the FOSDEM talk that was, will this be web? And it said not in priority.
Okay, that makes a huge lot of sense. That makes Romani guy, yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
Yeah. If you guys don't know, he's been long-term graphics engineer on the Android team. Well, he's no longer there, I don't think. Very, very long time.
Yep.
Very cool guy. Has lots of knowledge in that sphere and field.
Cool.
What were you saying? Was there more stuff you were saying?
No, I don't think so.
Now this is really cool. I'm super excited.
Is this? There's a question. There is a question in there for Go Route. Is that from today or?
Yeah, that's from today. And if you want to do another question now, but let Matt finish what he's going to say about.
No, I was just going to gush about how excited I am that we're getting more game support for Flutter. Because if you look at like how Flutter is architected, like it makes a lot of sense. Like it has a good foundation for it. So I'm super excited. That's all I was going to say.
I also heard in one presentation for this so far that VGV is heavily involved as well. So that would be useful to know. VGV's been doing some really amazing stuff with making very fluid displays. They're very good at that. Yeah. Okay. So we can move on to the next question if that's cool, Simon. Yes.
Sorry, say again.
Should we move on to the next question?
Yeah. Go for it. Yeah.
Okay.
Sorry.
Pratik Patil says, using GoRouter, if I navigate from /ABCD and push to A, init state is called first and the second time, but on the third time, init state is not called.
I don't see a third time there.
Yeah, where's the third time?
Yeah.
From A
If I
to B
navigate
to
from
C
A
to
to
D.
and push A, init state is called the first and the second time, but on the third time there is no third. What do you mean if you push again?
When I saw the question, that's what I was thinking. Is I don't see a third.
Because
Right.
it's probably not. Yeah, I think you need to give us a bit more on that.
Also,
So I can see how it would rebuild A twice because it's on the stack. They're visually on the stack still.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, you might get multiple rebuilds depending on how you layer your routes and how your routes are set up.
Pushing again to the same route again.
If it's reusing the old A widget though, because it says, well, yeah, this is just being moved in the tree. It's not going to call or init state again because the state is already initialized. It will call did change dependency.
No, you know what it is.
Call init state.
Yeah,
they're not keyed. Yeah.
If you need it, I mean, I guess also part of the problem is, do you want it called or not called?
Yeah, he says,
what's your goal here?
Pushing the same route again. Yeah, that's expected behavior.
Yeah,
Pratik. If you're not keying your widgets, it's going to reuse the widgets. That's the literal point of Flutter. That way it optimizes, right? So what you need to do is put key on your UI that you're trying to create.
that's the use case of key.
And if you need a hook in it did change dependencies because that will trigger if it gets moved around like that. So
yeah. There's also you also get deactivate and activate widget again. So
so if you go to the state page, so the page is literally state. It has the 11 steps of a stateful widget state. It's actually pretty.
Should I bring it up?
That's a go-to reference. Yeah. State. Once I discovered that particular page, I burned that into my brain. I said, "That's where the cycle is described."
Is that like the order of operations page on the C Bible?
It's something like that. Yeah. Right.
Yeah.
See, there it is. There's the sequence right there.
This is the massive documentation.
Yeah.
Oh, I thought it was linked in here. I swear.
No, it's right there. Framework creates a object by calling stateful create state. Yeah.
This is the you're right. Sorry, this is the life cycle. Yes. I swear there was a graph. I've seen a graph somewhere. Maybe it was on the docs.
In one of the intro docs, but this is the reference. This is the authority. So
so the subtree container state is removed from the tree because the parent widget was a different type. The framework calls deactivate method to override this, and it should
activates earlier, obviously.
Doesn't describe. I can't see it in there.
Mounted. Maybe it doesn't call activate. No, it has to call activate, right?
It does. So basically, we get a activate. When a widget is reinserted into the tree after having been removed via deactivate.
Oh, so it's probably down there at the very bottom of that list after deactivate.
Anyway, but this is the behavior that we're just discussing, right? So
yep.
Which could be happening in your situation, right?
Yep. If you want a hook, yes.
I was going to say the thing I learned recently is if you want it to stay around and it's changing, because I've not done enough with that really overall. So if you want it to stay around and it's changing levels in the tree, you actually have to use a global key, not just any key. It has to be a global key.
Yeah. If it reparents, you need a global key.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
anyway, I think we nailed that. Yes.
If we didn't, let us know what exactly it is you're wanting.
Yeah. And we're back to no questions. Get your questions in immediately, and you'll be answering them.
We have a question.
Wait.
We have a
Yes,
question.
sorry, not doing my job. There we go. So, learn with AJT. Well, I was out of commission for a few weeks, so still
Hey, how are you feeling, by the way? Since you,
I'm taking 16 pills a day, and I'm feeling fine. Better living through chemistry. So they got the mix exactly right. It took them a week and a half in the hospital and afterwards to fine tune it. But I now have a heart rate that never goes above 110, and that's only if I'm really pushing it. So that's about what I wanted. So,
all right, congrats. Good.
Yeah, that's good.
Yeah. And I sleep like 8-9 hours straight, which is way better than before. I don't know if there's something in the medicines that makes me sleep better, but it's been wonderful to have 8 hours of sleep in a row. Yes. Nice. Anyway, so now back to the real task at hand. In a large scale Flutter application, think 30 plus screens. That's large, maybe. Complex business logic, because business logic's never simple. Multiple teams contributing. How do you decide between popular state management solutions? You pick signals. That's
you
it.
pick one.
I have an answer. I actually have I've got a better answer. I am particularly fond of Virginia's state management. I think that they do a really good job. California does okay at state management. I would avoid Texas, Louisiana. I'm not particularly fond of.
I think maybe we need Matthew to create a state selection inator.
Yes, there we go. There we go. Yes. So you just hit a button and it selects which state management package you're going to do.
That's
no, you need we definitely need a state management solution that's now named after an American state, just so we can.
Yeah.
I'll create for the Virginia state management system. That's great. No, but then at the state management inator, we'll have a Simon mode and all the options turn to GetX. It'll be fantastic.
Oh
no. I mean, we're joking around. I agree with John's statement. Pick one.
Yeah. Find one that works for you, that you like the way that you set things up, that works, in your, I don't know, the way you think and the way you work, and pick one and go with it. I mean,
yeah. Kentucky state management incoming.
That comes with a lot of bourbon.
For me,
I think West Virginia would be better. Yes.
God's state management system. Yeah.
There is no East Virginia. There's only West Virginia.
When I went to West Virginia the first time, I was shocked. This was 30 years ago, and I think the per capita number of guns for every man, woman, and child was like 7.
Yeah. Most of my family's from West Virginia, so I take the hillbilly out of the hollows, but you can't take the hollows out of the hillbilly.
Yeah.
So to answer the question seriously, I personally would probably narrow it down to 2. There's 2 that I really like for that situation. The first one is I really do love working with signals. I've been playing around with it with test projects. It's really good. The second one, though, is that if you are dealing with a very, very large organization, there is an argument that I would entertain for block. And the only reason I'm going to say that is because it forces people to adhere to a specific structure. And as someone who was in charge of a lot of people at one point contributing code, people tend to do their own thing and ignore the architecture documents. And block kind of forces that behavior if you are dealing with 10 departments all doing the thing. Like, there is an argument that I would entertain for that. So depending on your situation, I would look at one of those 2 in February 2026.
Yes.
Yeah, Wayne. Yep, that's
all right.
Good question. That's a random question if I ever heard one.
So up until 6 months ago, I for like the previous 2 years before that, I was a very strong RiverPod advocate. But now that I've discovered signals, I can teach signals in 15 minutes. It takes me at least 2 hours or more to get RiverPod across to even the basics for people. So I think in some senses, signals has a lower. What are you laughing at?
That's what I'm laughing at. Forgive God.
Oh, okay. Okay. Oh, that's just horrible. But I think it's because Signals feels like a type that's right alongside Stream and Future and Value Listenable and that sort of stuff. So it kind of it's at that low of a level that it can just be dropped in anywhere without a lot of environment setups and setting up the central provider container and all that stuff that you have to do with these other things. No context required unless you really want to, that sort of thing. And it's incredibly flexible. And it was done by Rody, who's a very sharp programmer. Look at the test suite. Look at the test suite for Signals. It is impressive, absolutely impressive. Same thing I used to say about Remy's test suite for Riverpod, and I think that's a well-tested state management system is mandatory. You've got to have trust that state management does what it's supposed to do.
He's also got first-party support for AI coding, basically, right? So, like, he's got a lot of material in there for enabling agents to work and convert code to work with Signals, which is really helpful.
Okay, we got a few more things in the queue, you know.
Before we go for the always state management topic in every show, it is that thing like, pick your own, try them out, find the one that fits. Yeah. You're talking about like a large team. I will say that there's a lot of stick that we always hear about, which is state management is confused with many different topics, right? You've got application architecture, you've got state management, and you've got dependency injection. These are three separate things. You do not need one package that does all this stuff. You can mix and match. You can make it work. So things like using like provider and block is a very natural thing to do. And you can just use that that gives you a dependency injection and it gives you your state management, right? So there's lots of ways of dealing with this, right? So just
I still have a couple of thoughts on that. One of which is, again, use what you need for sure. I typically don't use a package for that, and I create my business logic in presenters, and I inject them when I'm creating the route. I inject them into the widget that needs it, kind of a thing, and that works well for me. I can imagine scenarios where I don't think that would work well, but with the stuff I'm doing, that works well. And the other thing I would look at, if you've got a big group and you haven't zeroed in on one yet, I would check and see what people have used. Don't force Signals down someone's throat if they're Riverpod gods, or whatever. I mean, I'm just saying, pay attention to what you've got going on. If it's a large group, they're probably coming in with some thoughts already, and at least let them make a case for. I would use block because of blah. I would use provider because of blah, whatever. And so you can make your decision with all the information you can get.
Take advantage of the skills that you have available to you.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
And ultimately, all state management is just to make observable data, which is data that you can be notified when it changes.
That's
the whole key to reactivity. So
big part of it is also the fact that a lot of this is built into Flutter, right? Like Flutter is built for this very purpose. It's a reactive framework in that sense, right? So in that regard, take advantage of everything that's built into Flutter as well. Notifiers, listenable, all the various different types of classes to do all this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And one of the reasons why we say Signals is because it integrates really well with those streams of data and the way that they work. So if you've got something that represents a future, you can easily make a signal out of it. If you've got something that's a notifier, you can make a signal out of it. So it kind of helps tie things together.
Yes.
I love that Danielle's response to state management is just raw dog state management. Like that's there's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. And Steph brings up a great point that we touched on how Signals works for that, but I think Steph brings up a great point that whatever you do, well-tested packages are really important. I mean, you want to make sure you can trust what's going on. I needed recently I needed a package for being able to draw a diagram, basically flowchart-ishy looking thing, and I picked I picked a new one, Vue node, VYUH, I think, node, and it works really well. But the guy whose package it is has been, it was pumping out like, 6 or 7 different versions a day of it. And I'm like, I don't, if that had happened before I started using it, I would have probably not, just because I don't see how that can be well enough tested, and so I've taken it. I just lock it down, and every now and then I'll go try a new, to update the versions of it. But I definitely agree that the how to test is very important.
Before we get up with subject, I just want to address this. Yeah, I mean this is what brings the freedom from signals, right? Which is it's like a base type. You can do what you want with it, but this is the point. You build your framework on top of that, and then like a foundation set of classes that work in your situation, and then you reuse them across your application. This is just good software development, right? So, I mean, the thing is, it's like dependency injection. You can just give the instances of your object to the constructor of whatever object that needs them. There you go. There's your dependency injection. You don't need something fancy, right? You can do some sort of static map with a lookup if you want to. It's the same thing as practically all the dependency injection systems. It just depends on what safeguards and responsibilities and how complicated you want to make things. A lot of software development ends up being more complicated than it needs to be because people go ahead and try and use all these packages together, right? So you should always understand, this kind of goes back to being well tested as well. Any dependency you have in your project, you need to understand the dependency very well. You need to make sure, do you even need that dependency? You're just using like one simple function line from that thing. Why are you even including a dependency, right? The risk is high, right? So yeah, just consider everything. I mean, good software development is a multitude of tasks, and one of them is good dependency management.
And we have a follow-up to a previous question. Should he have used did change dependencies? I think it's because I mentioned that a couple times. Yeah. So that's what you should have hooked into, probably.
Yeah, I take that just because. So to be clear, and this a lot of people don't realize this, it is in the documentation. Did change dependencies gets called multiple times.
Yeah.
So you cannot just do initialization in the dependency without having it protected by a flag of some sort, like a boolean or a null check or whatever it might be, right? So just be aware of that.
Or that something actually changed that's significant to what your initialization should have been, which is the reason that hook is even there. So, yeah.
Well, so basically, just want to say the pattern, for those that are new, the pattern in Flutter is if you have like .of or maybe of that you're using in your build function for like anything, that then registers a dependency, and therefore if any of those objects change, they say notify dependents, which calls this function in your widget, which is did change dependencies in your state. So just be careful.
Yep.
Right. And this is the router stuff, right? This is the
yeah.
The other thing that could be done if you need to control it at some level is Go router supports sending an extra parameter in, and you could always use that somehow in there to control whether it's new or not or whatever.
Yep. All right.
Honestly, yeah, just keying it should do exactly what you need to do. Try it out, let us know.
Right. Next one, I don't think we can answer, but we'll put it up there for a second anyway. Solomon was asking, what should be an hourly rate for a Flutter dev with 3 years experience in Nairobi? Wow.
I mean, none of us have lived in Nairobi. None of us have lived in that area of the world.
So definitely not worked in Nairobi. I've not been paid by people in Nairobi.
Could not comment and would not comment.
But I did enjoy my time in Nairobi.
Yeah, I would honestly say, Solomon, I'd say obviously make up your own. First of all, make up your own mind, right? Go find resources where they're showing how much people are charging for certain work. Work out an hourly rate that you find is reasonable in that area for the skill set that you're offering. And if you find that you're not getting the work or the work's not coming to you, lower your price. If you lower your price too much that it's not worth you doing it, well, then you need to think about specialization at that point.
You make an excellent point, Simon, because when it sounds to me like the real question is you are moving from not being a freelancer to freelancer or doing some sort of like work on your own. And the moment you cross that line, you step away from you step into the territory of being a business owner. You just do. And part of owning a business and thinking about things as a business is doing the research on your market. And so we obviously, none of us have done the market research in Niobe, but you need to do the market research to be able to figure out that answer. And I would encourage you, if you are just starting down this path, to think of it less in terms of what should my hourly rate as a developer be, and be more thoughtful of, if I am trying to build a development business or a development house, and maybe you are the only employee right now, how do I do that? And what does that look like for me?
There's a point here, as you gain reputation, you can increase the rates, increase the cost, because people are willing to pay for the evidence that they're seeing. Like your portfolio, as your portfolio gets larger, they're going to be more willing to pay more money because they can see the work that you've done. A lot of the time, when someone starts up as a freelancer, you're not earning any money at all, basically, right? You're basically working for free in essence, right? Like you're going to do 10 hours for the price of one, right? It's that ridiculous that you can be at the very beginning, because you're in the fighting pit with everyone else, right? You need something that then sets you apart from everyone else, be it the quality of your work, the speed of your work, be whatever, right? And at that point, or for example, you've got a portfolio which shows, let's say, I don't know, it's a restaurant app or takeaway app or something, and you've done one of those. You've got then your portfolio. Someone who wants one of those apps and sees it is going to go, oh, this guy's done one before. I'm gonna have this guy do it, And at that point, you can take the knowledge from your first one and apply it to your second one, do it quicker and cheaper, and therefore earn more money at the same price bracket, right? So it's a whole thing, right? You have to really make notes about what you're charging, when you're charging, what it was for. Make records of everything. Make notes. Make spreadsheets. You have to look at the numbers yourself.
You bring up an excellent point, Simon, that I hadn't thought of, but this is actually really good, right? So of course it's really good. I don't mean actually really good. Everything Simon says is really good. So there was a point in my life where I was not a developer. I kid you not, I don't know if anyone on this call knows this, a professional wedding DJ. And I would, right? Yeah, it was fun.
I thought he was going to say,
that was me. Right, but here's the thing. What I learned is I would take pictures at every single event. I would take pictures of like at the venue, and then I would make a blog post with all the pictures from the event and the venue. And even though I'm doing the same thing at every single venue, the fastest way for me to make a sale was people would type in like venue plus DJ, and they would see, oh, this guy has worked at this venue, so obviously he's going to be okay. And so it is like the same, even though it's completely illogical from the business side. You're a developer. You can develop whatever they want, right? That's stupid. If I can develop one thing, I can develop 10 others. But as Simon was just saying, I hate to use the restaurant takeout app, right? Mm-hmm. Seeing that they've already done it gives them that peace of mind, right? And so I would say, if you're taking on client work, one of the things you would negotiate, particularly if you're doing a lower price because you're in the fighting pit, is being able to get in writing that you're able to say, hey, I was a contributor on this project, so that other people can see it.
In any contract that you do, you should be able to, you in your contract, you need to have that you can effectively say that you worked on it, right? Not promotion, that's not the right word. There is a word for it, and I forget what it is.
Referral, advertising.
Yeah.
Yep.
You can use it for marketing purposes, basically, if you're your own company.
All right. We beat that.
Wow.
Yep.
In all fairness, later on he asks to hire you, so
you did, yeah.
We should do a
retirement.
We should do a name that tune like quiz and see if how many maths you can get.
Wait, Lane actually asked me to hire me for a wedding DJ thing?
Yeah, apparently.
Basically.
Yeah.
I don't have any of the equipment at all to do it anymore. I sold my speakers, I sold my mixer, I sold my hard drive full of music, I sold my licenses, I sold my lights. Like I had I had the setup, guys. I had trussing with like moving headlights that spun around and lasers, and I did all kinds of crazy
Laser.
Generator.
Wow, Weddinginator, yes. Yes. Comment of the video.
There we go. There we go. Next question. That's good. In your opinion, when will the Flame engine fully support 3D games with Flame 3D package?
I don't know the answer, but I would recommend that you join the Blue Fire Discord. They could give you a better answer than I could. It is a very friendly Discord community. I would recommend. And honestly, people don't realize this. Like Blue Fire is well known for Flame because that's like the biggest project, but they support a ton of Flutter open source projects. And so it's definitely worth hopping on their Discord and being part of that community. So I don't have any insight for you. I don't know if anyone else here does, but that would be my recommendation.
Okay.
I was going to say none of us have actually worked there or worked with them or anything else. So the one I was going to give was go look at the issue tickets and see how you were saying about when. Well, they're going to have a write up about their progress or what they're doing, and you can see how many tickets they get through this progress.
Like Steph pointed out, Luan's working on the 3D engine, so he'd be the one that can answer when he thinks he might have something.
Is this also the right time to also point out the fact we don't work for Google either?
It was mentioned in the chat earlier, but none of us work for Google. We're just community members.
Despite the shirt, yes.
Yeah.
Yes. That means nothing. It means I'm unpaid DevRel is what it means. Yep.
You can't see it, but I'm wearing my Flutter shirt from FlutterCon USA. So it is the only Flutter clothing that I own. My goal for 2026 is to go to more conventions and collect more articles of Flutter clothing. So
okay. All right. Next question. John, for you specifically, would you be willing to share your business model, marketing plan to successfully run a business based on your app?
I'm excited about this.
Yeah, it's not top secret. It's not all in place yet, but essentially I have an application that's very widely used already. It's was kind of a passion project, side project in my spare time that was born out of necessity, I'll call it, because the application that the company that the data comes from had out there was really, really bad. Unusable, you might say. So it's been one of these, like I make a few dollars off of advertising that I have in it. And I allow people to currently to remove the ads if they want. And I make a few dollars off of that, but nowhere near, for the amount of time I put into it. So there's some plans I have to take it, as I said, kind of to the next level where it actually is generating income and stuff. And I have more integrations with other data sources that are slowly coming and will be added before or at the same time that some of that stuff comes. So work in progress. My plan is that it's for those who don't know, it's based around volleyball and the club volleyball scene in the United States. So there's, I don't know, there's like 10,000 teams across the country, boys and girls that play in the club. I'm on screen share a link. You have volleyballparent.com, which actually is going to change to the new name, which is volleyballhub.net. But I got rid of the parent and went to hub just because it's not really geared specifically at parents. It's geared at players, parents, coaches, referees, clubs in general. So, so that's kind of, where I'm going with it. I've grown really, really large and can really grow even bigger. Just purely through word of mouth. I haven't done a whole lot of marketing. My marketing is what I would call guerrilla marketing. I'll share something in the chat, Mark, in a minute. It's what I would call guerrilla marketing. I don't have any around, I guess, but I have pieces of paper that are about this big that have a QR code and a little thing on it as marketing that says, hey, if you don't like using this system, here's a great front end sort of thing. And I literally, if you don't like my
compressor, use mine.
It's not even and actually that's what's interesting, right? So I have this discussion a lot, like with my wife when she asked me, like, what are the blockers? What are the things that could cause it to go sideways? And it's not really a competitor. because that's the people I'm focusing on are not the people they focus on as far as a business, right? Their focus is on the people that run the tournament and the clubs that need to register for tournaments. That's where they get their revenue. The general user, the player, the parent, the grandparent, the referee, they don't make any money off of them. They have nothing that they sell them. They just have to have a website that people can go to see the information, right? So they had a mobile app. They killed the mobile app because it was really bad. They tried to do it as a web app in a mobile environment. That didn't work. So they don't even have that anymore. They just have a mobile website, right? And they don't have a lot of features. They have basic functionality because all they're trying to do is just get the basic info out there. So my app actually has like a ton of features that people want, but they're all based around the data from these different systems. So it's just providing functionality and features that people like that make it easier to get at the information and quicker and that sort of thing. Take a screenshot of the QR code. Yeah. So let's see. Since I'm on, I'll pull a couple up here and show you. So where is it?
I'm just picturing John at these events, like with his little slips of paper, just like pulling out little slips of like home printed paper that are cut up and be like, "Hey, want to try an app? Want to try an app?"
So I hand out stickers. Let's see. There we go.
First login is free.
So stickers. Yeah, first login. No, it's all free right now. What else? Here we go. So that's a sticker. All right. Yeah. The guerrilla marketing. There it is. And if you scan it, I'll hold it as still as I can. If you scan it, it will take you to your Android or Apple store to get the app.
Really cool.
So yeah, I literally walk around. I have bags of these that I just, I'll print like 50 sheets off and then just sit at the thing and cut them out. And then when in between matches, when my son's not playing for an hour or whatever, I'll walk around and I have shirts made up. I went through, I don't know if anybody's used them, but they're actually really nice, really easy to use is Ninja transfers. So I just give them the logo and I order it in different sizes and it's like an iron-on, but it's like perfect. It like doesn't come off in the wash, doesn't peel. Whatever they're using is like professional and super cheap. So I have my own shirts that I've made, polos and stuff. So I will be where am I this weekend? I am in Indianapolis, in Westfield, Indianapolis, or Indiana, at a giant place they have there for a volleyball tournament. And so I'll be walking around for 2 days wearing a hat or shirts and stuff and handing out those things and talking.
Put the QR code on the hat.
I did. I have the hat. I've got right on the hat. I've got the logo on there and stuff. So yeah, the other parents know kind of like the situation that I'm in where I left Microsoft as I mentioned before and going in this route now. So they're always asking me, "Oh, you got more swag?" The coaches keep telling me, give me a shirt. I'll wear it on I'll wear it on the bench and help advertise. So, so that's kind of my plan right now in a nutshell. I mean, obviously I've got a lot of stuff written down and a number of features that I can build that will cost me money that I haven't built because of that, right? Some of the features that I can and want to build require servers and back end and stuff that, cost some processing time and stuff. So I'm going to have to be able to pay for that. And so that's kind of the plan is get it to the point where I can do a bunch of these features and things that people want that I'd like to do.
My nephew played in St. Louis this last weekend.
Oh, nice. Yeah. In the USAV qualifier down there. Yeah. We play in that most years. This year, our team didn't. Our club pulled out and went to Phoenix instead for the qualifier.
That is extraordinarily cool, John. And I love your marketing plan because that's when you've got a good product. Because don't get me wrong, but that is like the most guerrilla low tech thing I've ever seen in my life.
And so the other part of that I didn't mention is, so when you look at the breakdown of teams of clubs, 14% of the clubs are boys. and 86% are girls. I've primarily only been at boys tournaments and targeting boys, but I have a lot of girls clubs using it just because they've heard about it, right? Or they found it in the store, or they have a brother that played, and so it's grown by word of mouth. Like, like one person finds it and then they tell everybody on their team, and then the other teams in the club find out, and all of a sudden all 20 teams in a club are using it. And all the parents are using it, and and then they talk to somebody that they know from another team, and so that's how it's spread. So I know I have a really big addressable market that I haven't touched. With more marketing and all that sort of stuff, I could definitely, and partnerships are going to help. I've got some partnerships I'm exploring right now with one company that does live scoring, so I'll be able to add live scoring into the app and different things like that. Again, their target is the tournament. It's not the end user, although that's what they provide a benefit, right? They provide the benefit that players and coaches and everybody can look at an app and see, oh, my court's way behind. I don't have to go back to the court yet, or stuff like that. Well, that's not their focus, though. Their focus, where they're making their money, is selling their system to the tournament to use for scoring. And that's just a side benefit. So they really don't care. Is it in their app that they're getting the data? Are they getting it in my app? They don't care. It's, they already have the feed up there. So giving me a way to tap into it is, nice for them. It just gives them publicity someplace else for their site, their app.
So I have like this joke that I do, and I need to explain the joke so that no one thinks I'm actually serious. But like, I'll come up with the worst idea possible, and I'll be like, listen, I've got a great idea. So John, listen, I've got a great idea. FanDuel integration.
Betting on club sports.
Yeah. You could be a pioneer in the club sports betting frontier.
I mean, volleyball. Imagine how many prop bets there could be.
Right?
Yeah, but how do you like try? I mean, like, yeah, I don't know how. I mean, like, yeah, that's it's doable, but it requires a large workforce.
It'd probably get kicked out of a lot of tournaments too, though.
Yeah, right.
Especially if you short your own team, that would be bad. All right, let's go on to the next thing here. Steph actually must be chiming in home.
I want to jump in on this real quick, and then I got to head out because my time is up. But in the chat, I pointed out the thing I'm really curious about, and I want to start investigating and playing with, is on device. On device AI uses with like Gemma and stuff like that. And so I wasn't sure I was going to make it, so I threw it out there, and Steph replied with that, basically saying that watch next week.
So those of you who don't know, we do a show that's now Tuesdays, every other Tuesday, that is more AI focused than this show. So we're trying to keep this show mostly not about AI, and that show primarily about AI. But they're both, phone in from home shows, ask whatever you want to ask kind of stuff. And we have live demos of things, and we occasionally have prepared material. But so we do those on Tuesdays on this very same YouTube channel. So it's right here. There's a playlist specifically for that, but you can find that with a few clicks. So that's probably.
I confess that I haven't watched the show, but something that is really interesting to me right now is integrating AI into existing applications. So right now, I think like everyone's done the obvious thing, which is like, I've added a chatbot to my app. Bye, Danielle. Thanks for coming on. Everyone's added like the chat bot to their app. Like that's the generic like thing that everybody does. But I feel like there's so many more interesting things that you could do with an AI backend that you would have typically required like a human to look at, process, and then send back. So think of things like what people would have used like Mechanical Turk for in the past, right? I don't know if that still exists or not, but it was like a thing back in the day. And I would like to see more of those types of things.
Yeah, not just chats, but I want to see more Gen UI stuff, because that's going to be fascinating. That's bleeding edge, where the LLM can decide, oh, I need this kind of a widget populated with these values. more, then you need this kind of a widget populated with these values. And so you basically give it a widget catalog. Here's what I'm teaching you how to draw on my screen. You pick how you want to represent it. And the LLM is making reasonably interesting choices about that. And it gives you much more than this, send response streams of chat. It's a lot more exciting than because now we actually have real widgets in the scrolls and in the laying out on the sign. So that's GenUI. It's being done across multiple platforms, but there is Flutter development for GenUI in the pub. So you can go there and get more information about that. Anything else on that before I move on?
No, I don't have anything. That's the only thing that I can really think of off the top of my head. Like, I think there have been so many, like, everyone has like this fixed use idea of like what AI can do. And I think it can be so much more than that. So I do remember I remember I was going to say Google Stitch, right? For the UI generation that you're talking about. I asked it to make the most Gen Z UI possible. And like, it was fantastic. It was like,
what's a Gen Z? First of all, what's a Gen Z UI look like?
Well, there was Shrek all over it. That was a big part of it. There was Shrek all over it. There was, and then I put in like an existing website. I was like, make this as appealing to Gen Z as possible. So there was, it worked in the words slay and fam and cap and just let's just slay. It was, I'll see if I can find it somewhere. I'll show it someday. But
that's funny.
Let's move on to the next question.
Okay. So Learn with AAJT is saying, while working with Flutter, do you prefer to lead with strict TDD from day one or first model the domain using TDD principles? I don't do anything formal. Except now with AI, I've been doing sort of I've taken concept, turned it into a PRD, turn that PRD into a series of testable steps, review the steps after every step completion, commit, of course, after every step, make sure there's testable tests at each step. So I'm using standard software engineering practices, but it's not TDD. It's I don't know if it's really DDD principles. It's just I kind of have a sense of things coming together all the time because I've seen things come together for decades. So I think that's probably I'm cheating because I'm living it before I know it as a concept. And I don't know how I would express most of what I do, except what I just said, which is make a PRD, make test plans, do tests, and run.
Yeah, I use a process that I call GSW, which stands for Get Something Working. Yeah.
I thought series MVP. Yes,
it is very similar. It is very closely related to GSD. But like literally, one of the key principles is that big systems that work are built off of small systems that work. So for me, my number one priority when I'm starting is get something small working. And then once that is working, then I write tests to make sure that it stays working. And then I build something else on top of it. And I don't know that there is a official term for that design philosophy, but TDD has never worked for me. I'm just straight up, it hasn't. And I'm going to own that. I know that makes me a bad developer in the eyes of a lot of people, but I hate it. I think it's too formal. It doesn't do what I needed to do. I value test, don't get me wrong, but I would rather take that initial effort and just get something.
Here's the thing. It depends on what you're building, right?
Yeah.
I'd say it depends on what you're building and what your knowledge set is. Like, for example, and also AI changed that field, right? Sorry, I missed the beginning part of this answer, so apologies. But for example, I've done TDD on 4 projects before and absolutely hated it. What I mean by that is strict TDD. That is, you're writing a test first because there's a certain amount of exploration that you might need to do, or a certain amount of building it, right? That you cannot have test before. And then if I'm getting distracted from my context of building it to go write tests, it just distracts too much from what I'm doing, right?
Well,
so I think so there's that side of it, right? Which I'd say is a big thing. I mean, but with AI, it's what Randall was just saying. Like, you write your spec, right, and then the AI is doing the typing for you, right? And then it's also building tests for you, effectively, right?
Yeah.
It's also about how you command it to do things. It's the prompt side of it, like saying, "I don't you just write tests for the the good cases. I want you to write tests that can test to make sure it's not working in the in the sad paths, not just the happy paths, right?"
Yeah.
And be careful that the LLM is not updating the tests to make them pass when your code is broken. I've had it sneakily do that occasionally. And I go, just turn that test off.
This is very specifically how you command it. You can tell it to that not to do those things, right? Like the and it's about how
there is one place that I demand TDD. If you are working on an issue, trying to fix something that's broken, make a test first that fails the way the issue fails, so that you can reproduce it knowingly in a certain way, in an automated way, how it broke, because that then becomes a regression test. Because once you fix that, then you'll never regress back into the space where that was broken, like the issue said. So regression tests, absolutely essential. And so that's a place where I demand TDD and of myself and others, because it just keeps you from backsliding. And that's always important to be making progress. Okay, anything else on that? Gonna move on.
No.
Let's move on. Okay, we got a couple more questions, and I think we'll probably want to cut off questions if we're going to do live coding.
No, we can carry on.
Overlap. We can do the overlap, I guess. Do you believe in state management? I believe in state management. I believe in state management. I believe in state management. Yes.
Signals benchmark.
I don't know what signals benchmark means in that sense.
Yeah, I mean, is there like a benchmark that you're referring to in particular for different state management systems?
I would bet, though, that of all of the various state management systems, signals is so thin. There's just like nothing to it. It's just using, a value listenable correctly in the middle of it, a change notifier actually correctly in the middle of it to do the management. It's trivial. And it's also very general. It's also extremely optimized. It's optimized for pole calculations, which means that if some dependency changes, the signal is just marked dirty. It's not recomputed until somebody actually consumes the value as well. Which I think not a lot of other systems work that way. A lot of them are push, where they're basically updating downward always.
I've got to share something I just came across.
Yeah,
it's state management's benchmarks. This guy done benchmarks of different state managements in Flutter.
Okay,
and lovely charts we can look at. Rankings, line number. So like how many lines you need to do something, right?
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Yeah, we know that these are very heavy. It's kind of interesting, right? But memory size as well. So from 10 times initial load of 1,000, 10,000, 100,000 items in Flutter development tools. And so what you're seeing in terms of memory usage. But I mean, like this is kind of obvious, right? I mean, you're going to get the fact is you've got more code you got right, which are more objects, which is more essentially boilerplate for Flutter block, and therefore you're going to get more high memory utilization. Same for app size. This is all pretty on par. I mean, the Riverpod stuff has a lot of code behind the scenes. That's why that's probably up higher as well. But all this is bullshit. I'm not even going to go there with that one.
Yeah.
I mean, at the end of the day, if you're having performance problems with your state management, you're doing it wrong.
Yeah.
It's that simple. I mean, it doesn't matter what one you're using, really.
Yep.
I mean, at the end of the day, you can be doing things where it's not the state management necessarily that's doing it wrong; it's your implementation of that's wrong, right? And what I mean, that sounds a bit unfair. Don't get me wrong; there's going to be bugs and everything. But what I mean is to say, having something that kicks off something else, that kicks off something else, that kicks off something else, and you kind of got some sort of trickle down like state thing happening where you end up rebuilding everything in your app, right? I mean, yeah, of course it's going to get slow, right?
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know. This is just development, right? Like debug your apps, work out what it's doing, solve the problems.
All I can say is that I wish I had a church organ, and then I'd be like, "Do you believe in state management?" And they're like, "Duh." No. Yes, I absolutely believe in state management. Like, I don't know. Like, I suspect we all have slightly different approaches. For me, it's signal state management, MVVM architecture for repository thrown on, and get it for dependency injection. Yes,
that is the overarching principle. Yeah,
I like this. A lightweight, powerful meta prompt context engineering, a spec-driven development system for Claude Code and Open Code. I love it.
I love it. I love it.
I don't know what it is, but I love it. I'll share it in the chat for anyone. I have no idea. I know nothing about this. I did a search on it. People know what GSD stood for, and that's what came up. So
that's great. That's great. Oh, that's
the end of the day is a lot of the problem with like we always say this, right? Like naming is really difficult in software engineering. It can really hold you up because you've got so many very similar concepts that you need to name differently, for example, right? And lots of other things. And I think that it kind of comes to that side of it. Just choose something and do it. Get on with something. You talk about the state management stuff. The time you've just fiddled around with like trying to choose a state management, you could have tried 10 out and figured out which one works for you, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot of things that we get is there's a name for this, analysis paralysis, right? Where you kind of got all these options. A lot of the time in terms of how I do something in development, it's like just start. Just get
sit down, start typing.
And then as soon as you start typing, it's like writer's block. As soon as you start getting it out there, you're like, oh, if I connect to that, if I connect these this way, it would be completely different and it'd be more efficient, or it'd be better, it'd be quicker. Okay, start again. Refactor it all, whatever. Like it's too obvious. There is a time there is a point. I think I have to say there was a point where I was in my coding career, as it were, as a developer. It was in those early years, you take ownership over that code. Like you spent so many hours in it, you learn so much. It's like you couldn't possibly be wrong, or you can't possibly like code it any better, or you can't possibly delete it because it's like there's so much time to spend on that.
Yeah,
and then you get to a point in the future, it's just like it doesn't matter. You know what I mean? Like it doesn't matter. There's the point here where it's you appreciate the journey as much as the result, right? And I think that changes your approach to development. Don't ever be afraid to delete. Don't be ever afraid to delete your code or to refactor it.
Yes.
Ralph went digging through that GitHub repo and found an interesting quote.
Well, this is the one I should bring it up. I'm a software developer. I don't write code. Cool code does. I feel strong. Alt book vibes where stuff goes silent.
All right.
So to your point, Simon, this is going to seem completely unrelated. I promise you I'm going to get there. Okay. I hate sports. I am not a sports person, right? But one of the most interesting things I ever heard was when I saw Peyton Manning, who, if you don't know who that is, it's a very famous American football player. American football, not Simon's football, which is the fake football. So the... Let's see if I get kicked off. I'm trying to get kicked off. He said something. I saw him live at an event once, and he said people get so hung up on making the right decision that they miss the fact that it's more important to make it the right decision. And like that has stuck with me and like changed my perspective on everything. Like trying to debate and make the right decision is so much less important than just making a decision and then doing whatever you need to support to make that decision the right decision. And I think that is so applicable to the whole like state management, architecture, whatever conversation. Make a decision, stick with that decision, make it the right decision. Dead silence. I've killed the conversation. Next question.
Yes, right. Marco Sullivan says, has there been any chat about Relic? Well, not today. Actually, and it only came out last week, so no, not yet. Not on this show.
I have seen the information about it, but I haven't actually dived into it too much yet.
Yeah.
I haven't seen too much of it either, just their promo about it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
It looks like it's shelf compatible, which is going to be nice because it means your existing shelf stuff is going to plug into it. But it's sort of a fundamental rewrite to make it faster, better, cheaper, which is nice. And it's being done to support ServerPod, so it's from a fairly well-funded source at this point. So glad that they're working on that. I haven't had a chance to look into it. I'll probably add it to my list of things to research and maybe make some videos about. So yeah, but that's all I know about it. That's all we know about it. If you want to share anything, please share it in the chat and I will bring it up. But other than that, let's move on.
Kaylee says I use it for my webhooks, which is cool.
Oh, cool. Nice. Webhooks. Yes. All right, so Peter Muse 738 says, if you were to recreate the Starlink mobile app, which I do not have, would you use shaders for the nice 3D effects, like an image showing a router to dish connection? Yeah, shaders,
no, hang a minute. You're always going to have a shader. Shaders, how do you describe 3D processing to people? Right, I don't want to go through the whole thing again. No, You've got to remember that to render any pixel on the screen, you need a shader, right? So you're always going to have shaders, right? But you're dealing with three-dimensional models, right? A shader does not know anything about three-dimensional models. You can do math and you can make stuff up, but that's a totally different thing, completely.
Yeah.
So no, you wouldn't necessarily use a shader for this. No, I would suggest you go look at one of the 3D libraries that literally puts a platform widget in your view tree, which actually has a texture.
Look at Rive.
Yeah.
Or wait until Toyota releases its 3D thing.
Yeah.
I think Rive would be a potentially good fit for this, though.
Yeah, because it's talking about animation stuff too. So
Rive's a good answer.
If you did want to like looking at that filament thing, that is literally a perfect target for load. It's got Android and iOS pre-built binaries. You just chuck in your app.
Yep.
So it's like, chuck him in there, use a platform channel, away you go, right? Have it load a resource from Android for iOS or whatever, and show it in a platform view. Put that platform view in your code. There's plenty of example plugins out there that do that, right?
Yeah, should be.
It's possible.
Already.
It all depends on what you're doing, right? Like, I think I would be looking at like the most important thing of making the app functional. I'd be going down. Let's make it look pretty and do the fancy animations. There you go. Yeah, it's the same thing I was doing, right? Which is you can just load 3D models and plot them, right? I think that's what they were doing. I'm not sure actually. Yeah, I remember. I think it was their team that was doing that.
All right. Well,
right. Shall we do some coding?
We got two left. What are they?
Yes, two.
You take notes while coding, like writing down how you fix something.
Depends on what it is. If I need it, there are some times where I need to document the fix for other members of my team so that they're aware of what I ran into and how to deal with it. But if it's just for me, no.
Yeah, I mean, heck, I've done that even just for myself, right? It's like I figure out that I have to do something a certain way, or it doesn't work the way that you think it would work. And so I'll put a comment at that line just so that future me doesn't come back and go, well, this is dumb. It should be done this way. And then I have the same bug.
You break the make a bug.
Right. Yeah.
You can at least put stuff in the issue comments. Be able to say kind of why this particular patch is needed at this point so that people can look that back up when they're doing blames and stuff. Yeah.
And that's what somebody pointed out, that's what GitHub comments are for when you're checking in code, right? Put the information into that will help.
Well, I mean, like, obviously, you've got if you've got a ticket management system, you're going to be making whatever notes you need to on there as you need to make them. That might be helpful to the wider team, as Matthew was saying. But yeah, comments as well, of course. The biggest thing I do is do micro commits. If I'm on a branch, I'm just going to be committing often with, here's a summary of what it is, and there's a description box, put whatever details you want in there. You make up that list of everything that happened. That's your history chain. And now when you commit, you can squash it down. You can now use those notes to do whatever write-up you need to do, right?
I thought I was the only one. Oh, my God. My commit history looks insane. It's like multiple commits a minute sometimes. Just
yeah. Oh, yeah.
Micro commits. Why not? They're all on your machine. Like, it doesn't matter. You don't have to push them if you don't want to. You can reorganize them, do whatever you want. I mean, even if they're pushed, it literally makes zero difference to the whole thing. Right?
I commit pretty much every time I change something that works. You know, basically I have a new base camp going up the hill,
There's also like that people don't do enough is like you can start 5 different branches, all just work in progress commits, right?
Yep.
I did, I started this, didn't finish it, blah, 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 put it to one side, do this, put it to one side.
And just rebase it and pick it back up.
Come back to it, right? Or use it as notes to, you might want to try again. Here's a good example. I talked about refactoring. Do your code, realize it's wrong, put it in a branch over to one side, start again. You can use that branch of the code that you committed as a reference.
Yeah.
Right.
Yep.
Lots of easy ways to do that. Yes, that was that was the last question. So let's start some live coding, and we'll still continue to take questions. I'll interrupt Simon when that happens, so feel free to jump in whenever. But Simon's going to be live. Go Simon. Go.
Are we on the shopping app or the
so this is
book
the
club?
Well, yeah, I guess you can call it book club, whatever. Journal club.
Journal club. That's it. Yeah.
Yes.
Have you open sourced it yet? Is it available?
No, I think the thing is I'm not going to do that until I speak to them, and I'm not going to do that till I get it further. So that's just the way it's going to go because of its nature, right? Like
right.
Right. Where are we? Here we go. So let's make this bigger.
Oh, you got some pictures working last week or the week before.
So you weren't here for that bit. So Lane, thank you, Lane. Stayed a bit later. We got a few different things working. So this is I ran up some designs for the app in Stitch, and we came up with these back in the day. And like a couple of weeks ago, we implemented the tabs. We haven't got any other screens yet.
No.
And when
where'd you end up finding the images?
So this is the poster image off the video, right?
Oh, so you're using, if it's a video, you're grabbing the poster.
Yeah.
Okay.
And the videos work now as well.
Yeah.
I don't have this auto hiding.
Because that was where I think we were stuck last time, was that it was the document image of, so they just all look like the same.
And then we've got a search overlay now.
Nice.
That you can type in, was it twin? I think was one of the things. There you go. So it just shows the same card. Basically, tap on that and that'll take you into the article. So that's kind of where we are at the moment. We did like some fancy. You couldn't see it there, but there's ABC, AB. There you go. When I hit cancel, you kind of get this blur fade out.
Oh yeah.
And thing is, if I go down, you can kind of see like the background kind of does like a blur fade. And we're just like showing how you do that kind of animation technique. At the moment,
you were going to work on the swipe down to close gesture.
So on this, like swiping down to close.
Oh yeah.
So you might have this open, then you can swipe down to close. We could look into that. And half of me though is also looking at going, what are the things that we can do to tackle the most, like to get this where it needs to be, right? So one of the things that obviously one of the things I didn't like about what we did last week is I just reused the same cards. So, and it means that when you transition, it doesn't look like you've transitioned. It's not very clear. So I was thinking that there is this type of card here, which is just like a smaller card. that maybe that's more applicable, but it might transition better. But that's not really a big thing to do. We have the category screen to do, and then displaying all those episodes from that
might
category.
be nice because that should be pretty straightforward.
So that's another thing we could do. And then the library screen is also something else to do, which is very much like very similar. You're doing now just you can search. You've got your basically anything you've bookmarked in the app, anything you saved will pop up in here, and then you can sort them by group them by date or by topic, their category effectively. Ignore popularity, they're not going to be in there, at least not at the beginning. So that's also another one we could do. I think these would be quite quick to tackle these two and start getting a fuller app experience. And then there is also the profile section, right? So whatever you've got in terms of a profile and be able to like change your settings, which is not the most nicest thing to work on, but it's still something that needs to be worked on. There was also these I was also thinking about when you click on search, having this kind of recent searches and recommended topics pop up, which I thought might be fun. So that's another interesting point. I'm working with the data I got, which is not a lot because it's not designed for this purpose, right? So we one of the things that we did last week, which was to get these images, is this effectively has to go fetch the video URL, extract the poster, and then download the poster, which works. I mean, they're all different. They're all got different colors, which actually kind of works, right? But they're not cached at the moment. And I think it might be fun to also talk about how there's actually a bit in this terms of scrolling, which is actually interesting, which is how do you do this? And I've just made it, that shows you what the problem is. It had to do a ton of requests and to kind of establish what it's doing there. And the question is, are these being cancelled properly? How are they loading? Where do they get cached? Are they coming back in? So there's the general how you actually handle images appropriately. There's a thing called an image aware scrolling, which is exactly designed for this purpose. It's built into Flutter as well. So there's a kind of quite a few different topics that could be covered. But anyway, yeah. All right. So shall we just? I feel like I want to pick some of the base screens and just fill this out, flesh it out a bit more. What do people think? Should we do that?
Yeah, I think you've got at least a working search and stuff now. So
there's also this. Yeah. I would like to do the audio player. At the moment, this is just a mock one. Doesn't do anything. But I would like to actually pull that out, and so that you can browse the app whilst listening to one of the bits of audio, which I think was another feature I wanted. So during here, I want to have some sort of this may be the player when it's open and running. This obviously needs a way of closing it, some sort of semblance of a stop and get rid of. But then I think there's also there needs to be a key in the article, something like listen audio button. When you press that, this pops up. You can then play pause, and I can browse the rest of the app whilst maybe listening to an article. And then obviously that needs to work with the bottom nav down here. So that's an interesting concept that a lot of people aren't used to doing in an app, which might how you kind of communicate that with the widget tree and how you do all that. So I don't know. I mean, let's just flesh out a couple of screens quickly and see how far we get.
We have a request from the chat. Would you work on the custom page transition we talked about last week, the one linked to the gesture animation sync? So was that for part of this, or is that just a standalone thing?
So no, that was this thing, right? So basically the point here was if you go back at the moment, it's just going to animate, right? It doesn't actually. Oh, it's really hard. Actually, that's a good point. It doesn't look like it's actually animating. Just saying that. Huh.
It's a very flat animation. It just instantly did.
Yeah, but that's the point. It's not animating, right? It should.
Yes.
It should animate. Oh no, it did. Okay, hang a minute. Maybe that was just shader caching. No, that's definitely working now. I wonder if that was because the keyboard was open here. Hang on. So one for the keyboard. No, I did do it. It's just quick. All right. I think there's just some shady caching issue going on there. Yeah, but the idea here was that as you drag and as you move something back, then having it animate. So certainly an example of that is maybe when you're in here and you can do like a pull, the move it off the screen, and as you do it animates, right? That kind of thing. That's what they're talking about, right, Mr. Verdant? That's what you're talking about, right? But what about custom gesture direction, top to bottom, for example? Yeah, I mean, we were saying about that pull to get rid of on the search. I mean, we can certainly look at that. It's not a problem. I mean, there's so many things. Well, let's see how far we get with just throwing together a couple of these other layouts, and then and we're not. No, it's not going to be that fancy. And then we'll look into that. Yeah. Or should we do that first? It's probably gonna this is probably gonna eat up all the time if we do that, right? And for what is my point? All right. Let's. I vote other screen. Lane says, okay. I mean, let's just take a quick example, because I honestly, it's been a while since I've dealt with that, and they changed that thing, and I'm going to have to go look it up myself, to be honest. I think I like the idea of doing something like that. Give me 1 second here. I can find. So, for those that don't know, so you have we'll look this up because it's been a while. They changed the whole pop system, and it went from, we had a will pop scope. Is that even still in there? Will pop scope, yeah. Right. So this is the old stuff now, right? Into now, deprecated. There you go. Blah blah blah. Now pop scope set, and this predictive back stuff is what sort of initiated a big part of the change. Yeah, here we go. Hang on. Android back system has a swipe inward near the edge of the screen. It is recognized by Android before passing it to Flutter. iOS has a similar gesture that is recognized in Flutter by cubic around transition mixing, not by iOS, and and is therefore not a system back gesture. If can pop is false, the system back gesture will not pop the route off the enclosing navigator. Can pop invoked with the result will still be called. Did pop will be false. iOS, blah blah blah. I seem to remember the big change for why this was done was that you could then start doing those as someone proceeds to go back, activate this gesture, and you're going to have your app respond to it and move. So what this is basically saying is entire screen of iOS transition for a page route. The page slides in from the right and exits in reverse, which also is left in parallax. So this is that kind of behavior. But I don't think that's actually going to do what we want. Let's go have a look. Let's do this on the episode screen. We don't have a custom route in here at the moment. It's just, we'll go look at this. Let's go exploring. So previous tile did change previous. Transition duration barrier. Can transition to. Okay, so this is basically saying that both need to have the same transition for it to animate. And then this is just done start pop gesture. and building the gesture, we've actually got a widget that performs the transition. Curved animation is very similar to what we were doing last time, driving an animation, and it's a slide transition. So this is just the movement of it on screen based on the animation that the screen's taking place. So this is kind of standard. So I think the question here is, yeah, and then this detector is the magical thing that it's doing here. So handle horizontal drag recognizer. So this is handling the edge drag, right? The problem here, of course, is, as we just said, on Android, the system's taken over. Now, I still feel like I've always been meaning to play around system. Set framework handles back. Oh, okay.
Guys, I hate to jump, but I need to hop off work calls. So thank you guys, as always, for having me on, and I will see you guys later.
Thanks for stopping by.
Anytime. Select single entry history, select multi-entry history, route information update. None of those are what I was looking for. Okay, this feature is only available on Android U and above. Now, go methods define this channel invoke. Start back gesture. User start predictive back gesture. Update back gesture progress. This is what I thought. The user has continued dragging the predictive back gesture. Commit back gesture. The user has finished the predictive back gesture, indicating the current route should be popped. Cancel back gesture. So I'm going in this is the inner workings of Flutter, by the way. I'm just no one kind of like looking around here. So this is the channel which is communicating inside of the Flutter engine itself, and the host framework, that the host widgets that are running on Android in this case, back to the app. So this channel is what's going to be being used by parts of the framework to receive these methods. Yeah, so the following incoming methods are defined. So we get told about the progress using this. I have no idea where that's been, how it's been handled, where it's been handled, but we're going to find out. Oh, how about that? So handle update. This is exactly what I was looking for. So transition route apparently has a function. Handle update. Handles predictive back gesture updating as the user drags across the screen. This programmer progresses from 0 to 1 as the predictive back event, as in predictive back event.progress. And we can just override this in a transition route. Perfect. So we can update out, like here you update. So this updates the controller automatically, by looks of it, in a transition route. Okay. And then you've got predictive back route. Oh, predictive back page transitions builder. Supposed predictive back gestures, which builds transitions for predictive back. That sounds like exactly what I want.
Yeah. Getting closer.
How does one use these things? Right, let's have that. Make it bigger. Hopefully that's big enough. Used by page transitions theme to define material page route. Page transition animation looks at the default page transition used on Android U and above when using predictive back. Predictive back is only supported on Android U and above. I keep saying that. I don't even know what Android U is anymore. I'm terrible. So for those that don't know, there's a great website. It's called APIlevels.com. This is your go-to. This needs to be your go-to for anything to do with Android and versions and API levels. This tells you what the version number is, what the API level SDK is, what the version name is, and code name, and cumulative usage at this time and when it was released, right? So you can really kind of understand the marketplace, basically. So so as you go up, there's going to be certain things that aren't supported anymore. and what the minimums are. And this is all noted in here. So this is brilliant. In case Android U as upside down cake, that'd be 14, Android 14, 34 and above. Released in 2023. Okay.
I like baklava. They must have rolled over the alphabet. Now they're back to B again.
Yes, they did. Yeah.
I don't think there was ever a B. So that's also an advantage as well. Because we started on C, cupcake. The official
yeah,
release.
that's true. Yeah. Yeah.
Maybe they'll skip all the other letters too.
S and SV2. Anyway, so there's that one. There's also one. I can go find it. I always forget where it is. iOSref.com. And this works similarly the same way. So those that don't have, I'll put these links in the chat actually for those that want them. And the iOS one is a very similar thing. This is telling you, what iPhone device, when it was released, what is the first version of iOS, what's the maximum it got up to. Now, as you can see here, anything below an iPhone X essentially is not going to be getting iOS 26 at the moment, right? That's it. They're not getting that update. So they're stuck on these versions. So Mac 18, 16, 15. So if you're saying your min supported iOS version, this is how you're going to work that one out. I think there's some other things on this website as well. So you can see resolution by device, what versions of Swift, and all this other information, which is super helpful as a iOS developer, I guess. All right, so 14. I don't know what version this device is running. Probably look at that. Like an old Pixel 4.
13.
Did it say 13 there?
Yeah, I was there. Yeah. Right.
Yeah, Android 13.
Yeah.
So that tells us right now that that's not going to work for us right now, isn't it? That's tiramisu. That's tea. Which is the one before the one that supports this. So I can't even demonstrate this right now. So sorry guys, that answers that question, doesn't it? I've given you something you need to look for. But the looks of it, honestly, looking at this, predictive back, full screen page transitions. There's looks like there's quite a few of these on here. Faded towards background. These are all. This is what this is. I remember this now. Do you remember this? They started releasing. These are the transition builders that give you the effects on those different versions of Android. The ones that built into the device, basically the matching ones. So to me, looking at this, the standard material page actually has support for this. And if this page transitions builder, we'll fall back to fade forward, which is probably the one that we've got right now. So page transitions builder. It's interesting that it creates an instance of this builder matching. There's no parameters. I don't know how they expect this to work. Is this a mix-in? No. It's interesting. Oh, do you know what this might be? Maybe this is about firing this over to the page transitions theme. Okay. Now I see what they're doing here. So you don't have to use that, by the way. So yeah, here we go. So basically, inside of your theme, you set your page transition theme. This is used by the route builder. So the default route builder when routes are built is based inside the theme. And this basically means that when you're running your app on iOS, you get the iOS transitions. When you're running on Material, you get material transitions. That's the idea. That's why it's in the theme. And this is one that you can specify and you'll get the U behavior of being able to move it when you go back. However, saying that, there should be no reason why if we don't go into... No, that's not it. Go take a look at this class for a second. So predictive back gesture detector, predictive back shed element page transition. But yeah, look, pop route gesture in progress, right? I mean, you know what we were doing last week, and let me just show people, just so those that weren't around for that. Home, I can't remember what it was now. Did we do a search? That's a good point, actually. When the hell did I put? Did I just chuck in the bottom of the home tab? Probably. Yeah, I need to move it out of here. Anyway, so we did this. So this is a custom route, page route. And the idea was to give us those custom effects. In this case, based on the animation of the route, we create this curved animation that animates the sigma, or 0 to 10 of the blur. So as the widget fades in, as the route comes in, based on our route transition time up here, it will go through 0 to 10 of sigma, and so therefore sort of gradually fade in like a Gaussian blur. Same goes that it also fades in as well, so it's kind of a mix of both. So that's anyway. But the point here is what I'm trying to say is you can put inside here exactly very similar to what it's got here inside your build transitions. You can just say if route pop gesture is in progress, and then put a slide transition in there, and then have it like animate the slide transition. I mean, no more. I mean, you don't have to use what they're doing in here, right? Let's have a quick look at what they're update. Yeah, so they got some various animations that are taking place. I feel like this isn't open enough, right? Fade forward. It feels to me like this is all like this is what annoys me. Like this private classes, they're not. Let me use them outside. Let me use components of this in my own way. So at the moment, it's either a copy paste job or I don't know.
Well, you can also
you have to call this. You could call this function. Sorry, you could create an instance of this in your thing. Call this function with your child, and that's going to wrap it in this. That would actually work. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, it's reasonable if you got an internal interface that you don't want to support in the future for backward compatibility to make it local.
Oh, of course. But also like this is one of those things where it's like this is a builder without any parameters, right?
Yeah.
So how do I use this in my own app without having to use the theming framework, right? It's not clear. Yeah. So, by the looks of it, though, looks like it should work.
Why is it called shared element?
Why is it called a shared element? That's the name on Android, isn't it? Yeah.
Oh.
So that's the name on Android for the transition, shared element transition. Yeah, let's hit play. So it's that kind of transitioning out from an item. I'll cancel the playback speed. Hang on. Slower. There you go. So see, it kind of transitions out from the item.
Yeah.
That's what they called shared element transitions back. So
Heroes. Yeah.
Hero, like, well, kind of. I mean, like, it's not too difficult to do these like transitions like this. Like you remember, I think a lot of people like think of it like a game, right? Like you're getting this rectangle. So when you action your route, you get the rectangle of your source context, whatever's being passed in to it. Like, so it's the button, right? Obviously pass whatever you want in. And then you can go from that render object, from that context, you can find this render object and get its screen coordinates, right? And there's literally a function called local to global. You pass it 0, and it's going to give you back the coordinate here of where it is on the screen. And you have the width and height of the object making a rectangle. Now you've got that rectangle. You pass that rectangle in your route to in your route basically to the new set of widgets. Those widgets then position themselves absolutely on the screen to add those coordinates, or do a global to local transformation, converting this global coordinate back into the local scope. So if there's some sort of padding or something on the screen that's dealt with for you, then at that point, now you've got a rectangle where to begin your animation and position your widget. There's literally, a stack with a positioned widget that gives you those coordinates. Done. Now you can now go, okay, I'm gonna over my animation period. Essentially, there is actually, I think there's some stuff in the framework. It's basically you're lerping a rectangle, right? You're going from these 4 coordinates to these 4 coordinates. And that's it, right? I mean, you can do this kind of like zoom out from a component, pretty straightforward, and it doesn't require like a miraculous number of things either. Yeah, so this is obviously the design guide, I guess, for it. How it's all supposed to scale and work, or how you should do it. But yeah, you're not limited to that, right? You can do it whatever you want. Yeah. I'm kind of curious though, like, because this doesn't really show. They're talking about being shared element page transition, but there is no shared element stuff in here by the looks of it, right? You've got your events. That's interesting. Yeah, so this is your edge swipe events that are being generated. And start current child. Your animation is delegated. And it's a lot of complicated math. To basically transform scale, transform translate, to put the position scale of the screen to match the standard, right? But you don't have to do that. So don't think that gets anything magical. It just uses the animation that's passed in, right? Because it doesn't know anything about the route. So this is just the standard screen animation. So what I'm doing right now with my Gaussian blur stuff, that would just be applied with the same predictive back. If I move my finger, it would go more or less Gaussian blur without any trying. That's just going to happen.
Just like in real life, where things get blurry, sometimes things get sharp.
Yeah.
I'm interested
fade
in
in,
this.
Fade out, wax on, wax off.
I'm not sure what this. Let's have a look. Just have a quick nose around.
Yes.
Widgets. Okay. That makes sense now. Okay. So for those, okay, this is where I would have expected to see it. I don't know why I didn't go there first of all. Okay. So for those that don't know, the widgets binding observer is the layer that registers with the platform, and it's how you get all the callbacks to run your entire app, basically, right? So it's called widgets binding observer. Widgets binding is the bit that binds the widget tree to what's behind the engine. And this observer is, you can register multiple observers, and this is how you can determine what's going on with your app. All of the other widgets that really go around these things, around many of these things, are literally just use this underneath the hood, right? So here you have like accessibility, app lifecycle state. There's an app lifecycle listener widget that literally uses this under the hood. That's how it works. Locales, metrics, platform brightness, text scale, view focus, memory pressure, popping, pushing routes, request apps exits, and here we are. Handle start, backshot, handle start, cancel start, and this is what's coming over the platform channel. So the widgets binding system is linked to that platform channel that's coming back to here. That's calling these callbacks when those things happen. And so you could just hook into this, any widget at any point. You don't have to use routes or anything. So that's nice. And that's basically what they're doing here. So what they're doing with this widget is this is listening. This does a register somewhere in its build. It will do a register. There it is. Add observer and remove observer. You can just do this in your widget. And then you implement, you say with the binder, with the binding observer, and then you just override any one of those functions. In this case, they override start back gesture, handle update, cancel, and commit. And what they're doing here is they're actually calling the route functions for you. So this is kind of interesting, because if you don't use this widget, your route callbacks don't get called by the looks of it. So that kind of annoys me a bit. Like, I feel like they should get called anyway. Like, that's just like default behavior, or it's a flag that you enable. And this is a private widget, so you would have to re-implement that little bit of behavior yourself. Just this bit here, right? Which is the callback to those functions. The phases and all the rest of it, I don't think. This is more about how they handle events and callbacks. So not sure that you would actually need that. The route should be managing that itself.
Coming up on the end of 2 hours. If you have a question, please get it in right now so we can answer it. Otherwise, you'll have to come back next week's show.
Yep, I'm gonna have to jump off.
Yep.
Yeah. So it did start. Updates the progress count. There you go. This updates the routes. Did start user gesture. Stop user gesture. So all this is actually handled in there. I think the problem that people come with trying to implement this is that it doesn't just come out the box by the looks of it, which seems a bit strange to me, but that's the way it works. So your routes will update and will animate given if you either use this page transition builder and wrap the widgets with yours, or use the observer to call back yourself. Yeah, so the update progress, and that's just updating the animation controller on this progress. So yeah, that's kind of interesting because it's kind of nice, right? Because it means that you're not limited to the route system, right? You can do on any widget at any point. You can have multiple widgets on the screen all do their own independent animations based on the back gesture taking place if you wanted to. Do you know what we could do? We could do that expand transition for a card, I guess. I don't know if I want to do that, actually. Like,
this doesn't take an hour.
well, we're just done for like, yeah. I mean, what we're running at time now, aren't we?
Yeah, we're at 2 hours now.
When is your cutoff point?
I'm wide open. I'm just not wanting to shut it.
Yeah, because I want to keep it into in a reasonable time frame. Okay, well,
let people know I'm not going to be here next week. I've got a meeting with my cardiac doctor for the first time. Should be interesting.
Right. Well, I love the way that people say they don't mind, but right. Yeah. So I don't think we can do the transition stuff at the moment. We could just do this whole sort of screen thing. What was the other suggestions we were going to say? Screens. There was like a pull down to close, wasn't there?
Yeah.
That is something that kind of is annoying me right now that we could do.
Sure.
Should we do that? Let's do that. Hang on. Long show plays, yeah. All right, well, look, let's see how we do with this. So first of all, I'm already not liking the fact that the gap at the top is right against that. That's just not good. Right, let's go dig out our search overlay and our route. It's kind of all got a bit muddled here. Home search route. Let's make a new home search overlay. Take all that stuff we did, chuck it in there. Okay, and that brings us all in here. Now, route-wise and widget, let's create this, make that public, the home search overlay. And then we'll make the constructor private. Yeah, so this is making a home search route. And what we'll say is do static route. Why do we need to build context? It was for the barrier. We don't really have a barrier anyway, so that's coming out. We don't need that. Yeah, I think we were testing out the barrier stuff because we're not using that. It's kind of interesting, right? I don't think we've ever. You can actually do this, by the way, if people don't know. Just,
we have a question. So that gesture-driven progressive animation transition for a route is the same as the one used for bottom sheets, for example?
No, it's not at all. No, sorry. Just because that's linked into the navigation of the OS. That's what that's doing.
Right. It's a lot of special wiring for this whole operating system interface.
Okay. Where was I? So home search route. The reason why I'm doing this, it's kind of annoying. I don't really want that up there. Let's bring this down there. Right. So we've got home search route. So now on our home search overlay route. This makes sense, right? So now we're putting it right, the right context. So when you're on the home screen, you hit the search button, we push the home search overlay route, which happens to be a custom route that's private to this file. So we're not having any use of it anywhere else right now, which does our fade transition using the home screen overlay widget. And we can also make this widget a private constructor, thus making sure that you can only access it through the route, right? Yeah, I mean, yeah, so that's exactly right. Yeah, because we were building it, we build it on the actual push, right? Because we're building it in the constructor, and that's just the way it's going to be. The barrier label itself is something. I mean, you could obviously construct your route in such a way that it monitors the widget binding observer, for example. When the locale changes, it then refetches it or whatever you need it to do, right? But that's just generally not the way that the routes are done. All the routes will suffer from that at the moment, right? Right. Where am I? I have a bug apparently. Oh yeah. Right. Okay. So let's just tidy that up. Okay, where were we? We wanted to say drag down, right? Behavior. So let's put, I feel like I want to default that. Let's default, where was that default search stuff? This feels like give it some content. I feel like we need some content on there. So we're gonna have an option here, right? So when we've got some content, we want to pull down. At the moment, we get this overflow. There's another name for that, but where's my list? Episode list. So there is actually that sort of behavior is actually passed down. Trying to remember where it comes from now. Scroll configuration. Oops. Yeah, scroll configuration.
Interesting.
Are you not seeing this?
I don't think I've seen it before like that. Cool.
So this is what actually builds the scroll bar on a particular platform. It's basically a decorated kind of pattern. And this is where the overscroll, that's the way I was thinking, overscroll. So this is when you go, oh, I'm on Android and I'm using material or whatever. I'm going to use this indicator, or I'm going to use the glow, or I'm going to do whatever, right? Glowing indicator.
Target fuchsia.
Sorry?
Target fuchsia.
I am.
Still remnants of that left around.
So this glowing overscroll indicator is actually the piece of code that actually shows that glow at the top there, right? So trailing, leading. I shall show trailing and show leading. That's interesting because we want to hide it at the top and start the pull down gesture. So actually we want to override this behavior of this. Okay, so we have an overscroll indicator notification, stretching overscroll indicator notification. We're not going to do that. We could do, right? I mean, I haven't put that in there. If I use in material 3, then I get the stretching behavior from this one. Although we could just force it to be this. Axis direction. Let's have a quick. So we can also consume these scroll events before it gets to this point, right? That could be another possible option. Custom scroll view. Some other custom things we can do. So I'm thinking about how we can approach this topic. So let me explain what we're trying to do here, first of all, just so people are aware. Scrolling, I scroll down, I scroll to the top, and when I pull more, what I prefer to do is have the whole screen move down as I pull from the top of the scroll view, right? So as you saw here, when I pull down, these events that make that glow are actually notification events. So in here, we basically want to supply our own wrapper around the list to perform a slide transition. So I can show you how we would do this briefly here now. And that's probably the quickest way. Yeah, that's probably the quickest way to show you. So let's have like over scroll pull down. Let's call it that. And we're going to pass in child. It's going to pass through widget child. And then our overscroll pull down or wrap around our list view. Actually, we're going to go one step further. Yeah, okay. We're going to just throw this out there. We can tidy it up in a minute, right? So what we need to do is have a overscroll pull down behavior. I don't particularly want to. What do we actually need to implement? So platform, extend scroll behavior. Does it have a get platform built into it already? Target platform. Okay, we can leave that. So build scroll bar. I'm assuming the default does nothing. Build scroll bar does raw scroll bar if it's on those, otherwise it's nothing. Okay. And there's our glowing scroll. So if we override our glowing overscroll indicator, it should be enough to get us where we need it to be. All right, let's do that. So Don't know why.
Just to fill in a little bit here, you're actually looking at the source code of the Flutter SDK, and to figure out how you want to override some of the stuff and fit in some of your stuff.
Yeah.
Cool. And that's one of the advantages of Flutter is that we do have the source code all the way down to the thing that draws triangles. So it's pretty easy to kind of see how the whole system works. I remember that when working on Smalltalk 80, that pretty much I had source code all the way down to the VM level. And it was really nice to be able to see, oh, this is how it draws borders on windows. I see. Pretty cool. And then you could change it and mess your whole system up. So it's like you could easily break your system over and over again.
What was my head open here? Material. Material scroll behavior. That was the class I was looking at. I was just thinking I want to try and keep the parameters secondary details direction.
Yeah.
Sure.
I've occasionally contemplated implementing Smalltalk in Flutter so that I could actually take my old Smalltalk programs and run them, but I never had enough ambition.
Interesting. Physics control direction. They actually give us the controller. Handy. Okay. So need to build this with the information to do this basically. So let's say we said axis direction was the thing that we actually need. Color something different theme. So we might as well just pass over axis direction.
Is this helpful?
Yep, it does. Yeah, but we're not there yet.
Okay.
I'm just trying to stop the overglow from happening at the top end. First of all, there's a couple. You can deny the bubble up of the overscreen notification, but I believe it's going to get consumed by this before that takes place, if I remember rightly. This is not a big deal. Right. Oops. Let's. Okay. And then that should mean we have exactly the same behavior as we had before, basically. I've just subbed in our implementation. And then all I'm going to do is say show leading false. That's all I wanted to add to that. It'd be nice if I mean, you say wow, but I mean, like, it is just that's it, right? That was the whole thing, right? Like, it's not like we've made a widget and then we've returned that widget. It's not complicated code. I think we get a bit as Flutter developers. What's the word? I mean, I'm not joking. So many other platforms, to do this thing would be so much more complicated than this, right? Sure. And I think we get almost lulled in the full sense of like how simple something should be. Where we can like we get spoiled. That's the way. That's the way I was saying. Spoiled, right?
Yeah.
So it's definitely something where, we should give it some more thought. So now I pull down. Oh no, I'm in the search results. Sorry, AB. What? I pull down. Yay! I don't get my overscroll glow.
Yay!
Yeah, I can go to the bottom. Oh, I won't get to the bottom. There's way too many.
Hell no, we won't go up.
Hang on. What was it? Twin. There was only like a couple of like results for that, something like that. Scroll to the bottom. There we go. Now I get the glow at the bottom.
Oh,
exactly what I wanted. Okay, so now I don't have the pull down from the top. Okay, cool.
Nice.
So now we can go a bit further with this, right? So we've got this overscroll pull down behavior, overscroll pull down thing. So in this, we can now wrap this with a scroll notification. Observer, widget? I don't think it was. Maybe it is. This has a type attached to it. This is not what I want. Notification listener is what I want. Similar, this widget is similar to this and supports a listener list instead of just a single listener. The more you know. Okay, so you can basically add a listener. on demand. That's cool.
Hmm.
So it's an inherited widget scope that comes in from the actual scroll view then, probably. So you can say scroll notification of, add a listener function. And then you get your scroll notifications. Now that's interesting. Look, we learned something new. Okay.
And
anyway, I want that. Okay.
I would wrap that in a signal. Of course.
Let's. Why you new work? There you go. So we're going to print the over scroll, and we're going to debug that and see what we get. So hot reload. I'm on the wrong screen again. I should probably just do it on that screen and then or keep. There we go. So now, as I pull, we get our indication of how much, right? So this is like in pixels, I guess. See the glow. This is the glow. Is this the scroll notification? Let's hold up. Notification of scroll widget has not changed its scroll position because the change would cause the scroll position to go outside of scrolling bounds. Yes, that's what I want. We have drag details, velocity over scroll. The number of logical pixels the scroll avoided scrolling. This will be negative for scrolling on the start and positive for scrolling on the end.
It looks like negative, so it's working the right way.
Yeah, which is correct. I'm just thinking about this is like, if I was to let go, there's no bounce back, right? So this is how much it avoided, right? So as I drag down, these are the delta events. If I let go, there's no this isn't growing and then getting smaller like you think the glow was happening on the glow. This is just how much it avoided. So this is how much to add and move the screen down by, right? So this is literally a translation factor, right? So if I was to wrap this whole thing, sorry?
If you want it to bounce back, you're going to have some sort of animation controller or something, right?
So let's do the really silly thing to begin with, which is we'll do a over scroll value notifier. And then we'll wrap this in a value listenable builder. I prefer types on my parameters. And then interesting. Not sure that makes that much difference actually. Anyway, so as we get these events coming in, we want to add to the value the overscroll amount going positive. So we negate the negative. And then all of this is going to come out here and be the child of our builder, and that child gets passed across. So we're only rebuilding the translate. So the offset will be the overscroll. We could also negate it here and keep it negative as another option, right? Let's see what happens. Stop. Right. Ooh, it's moving down the screen with my mouse. It's so amazing. And then it doesn't go back.
Right, because there's no spring to it.
Yeah, which is like what expected, right? This is all fine. So I think now that we've got this kind of notion, now we can intercept these events and we can do something with them. That's the main thing. So now the question is, how do we move the entire screen down, right? So in the case of this, what we need to do is work out a way of how we're gonna move the entire route down, right? Is basically what we want to do. Now we can control the route animation, which It's not necessarily moving it down, but that would fade it out. That would perform the animation in reverse. That's something we could definitely do. If we've got a custom route, then we could actually make like an overscroll host, pull down host or something. So that's another option. Obviously, let's lift this out. Let's lift this out here now. Let's do like overscroll, pull down Dart or something. And then what we'll do is we'll lift this lot out into here. And then what I want to do is copy this wrapper, and then we'll do overscroll pull down. We'll do like a static builder, right? So we'll say something like widget wrap child. Yep, exactly what I want. That's what I copied, right? Yep. It was, yeah.
That's augment helping you, right?
Yeah, that's augment code. Wonderful thing. They've just, by the way, they're just bringing out a really cool MCP for their context engine. Just FYI, check it out. Right. Anyway, so now this becomes wrap. I feel like I want child in there still, so I'm going to make that a named parameter. Yeah, sure. Okay. Cool. Overscroll, pull down wrap. Now, what we need, so this is just a nice way of doing it. And now what I want to do is have a host widget. So host. So this is something that's going to apply the effects of our pull down, right? So
okay.
Actually, let's do stateful. What am I doing?
I don't know.
Right. There we go. So what I want to do with this is inside our route at our build transition level, we can wrap the entire thing in that. So let's wrap this with, say, overscroll pull down. Maybe transition would be the better. There's a connotation to it. Now we'll leave it as screen. We'll do that. Okay. And then, oops. Okay, and same thing here. We're going to return back our child widget. And this time it's going to be wrapped with a slide transition. That's the one I want. There are many. Thanks, AI. That's not what I want. That'll do. Similarly, what I want, but not what I want. Right, so we need to have a way of communicating. No, what I'm saying, I want a animation controller. And then I'll dispose. And we'll have a single ticker. Thank you very much. Okay, so yeah, we can leave this. Let's leave it. Let's just get this working, then we can come back to this. Right. So basically, what I want to do is be able to control this animation from the pull down below. So we can say like have a void set over the scroll. There you go. I'll do. And then this can have a animation attached to it. Sure. It's not really that's this I want. Cool. Okay. So now we have our state. What we're going to do down here is when the overscroll pull down state loads up. Position state. Right. So we need to wait. So we've got this overscroll accumulator here that accumulates the number of pixels. We essentially want to fractionalize that, and then we can apply it to the animation, and then there must be an event that we're missing here, right? To know that when overscroll stops, right? Like, because overscroll is an update notification. I guess it's scroll stop or whatever it is. There must be another. And I'm pretty sure there is. A scroll idle, isn't there? Scroll start. We're going to need to, scroll end. We just stop scrolling. Okay, here, 0 more update notifications. Overscrolling when indicated when the widget is not changed its scroll position, but it's caused to have its balance change. Interspersed with scroll update notifications and overscroll notifications, 0 more user scroll notifications. Scroll end. Okay. So let's see if what we need. Tragically, what we now need to do is have 2. So these are all scroll notifications. If you look at them, they all inherit scroll notifications. So we listen to scroll notification instead. And then what we need to do is say is in here, say if notifications end, or if it's is a overscroll notification.
Be a good place for a switch, right?
Perhaps.
Okay. just suggesting as the backseat driver. I've got nothing else to do, so.
Nice. Yeah, we just care if it's ended, right? That's what we want to do. So end. All right, now we want to get these events over to our. I mean, we could actually, to be honest, if these events bubble up, we could put these at that top level, but it could be anything that then indicates it. Yeah, no, this is fine. So we'll get rid of our accumulator in favor of our parent transition managing that state.
Oh, new Flutter stable 341 just got released.
There you go. Always GenStream.
Yep.
Content.
Oh, almost an hour ago. I missed out.
And don't need that anymore.
Oh, it went from 338 to 341. So there's probably some significant changes. I'll take a look.
I don't think there was that many.
Yeah, I couldn't have got too far. I'm not a Flutter 4 yet.
No comment. Right, so the overscroll amount that's been set here is actually a pixel amount. I think what we originally need to do is fractionalize this. So we want to know how much we want the, where is it? Pass this over to the overscroll pull down. Yeah, we kind of want to know what is, we want to parameterize this to say what is the amount. That's a good point. I guess it depends on the I know, okay, this is in the wrong place. So our pull down host, where was it? So transition needs to have sort of the amount that we want to pull it down by, right? So we'll just say overscroll distance, for want of a better word. And we'll put that at 150. So what we're saying is, thank you, delta. So we're taking the delta amount of pixels that we've overscrolled by, and then applying, dividing that by the distance, giving us a fraction amount of that, and then we're applying that to the value, right? So this value now is what we want to add to the existing value. So we want to take that current animation value, add to it, and then clamp it. Okay, so let me try and visualize this for everyone. So imagine there's 150 pixels at the top of the screen, right? Overlapping like an invisible box, right? Now, our animation controller has a value between 0 and 1, 0 being the top of that box, 1 being the bottom of that box. It doesn't know how many pixels. We don't care about pixels. Pixels is immaterial. It cares about fractions between 0 and 1. So what we're doing here is we're converting one domain, which is that pixel domain, into that fractional domain. So the pixels coming in are being converted into the total that we want to overscroll by. So we can just update this to 200. It matters not to any of the calculations anywhere else. It literally is just this division that matters to, right? Now we've got it into a fraction amount. This would be like 0.00001, right? This is like your 1 pixel over the 100, right? So it'd be 0.001, whatever. But the point being is that fraction is what's been added to our controller to move it by that amount. Obviously, we may be getting more events past that point of 150. So that's where the clamping comes in. Once you let go, we're going to cause end overscroll, and this is going to just return it back to 0 right now. So we should get this kind of bounce effect effectively, right? Now, the animation that we got is ease out. So it's going to have an ease on it. We could add this to bounce, and then we'd have a bounce in window. Also, I'm not sure if these offset numbers are correct. We'll have to go figure out what, if it's positive to negative to positive, whatever. Yeah, so on that parent is completely wrong. That would have been a funny one. Right. So yeah. Should we see what we've done? See what we've done. Sure. What can possibly go wrong?
All of it.
He says with
just
not finishing off. Here we go. So yeah, that's dead code now. Let's get rid of that. I don't even know if does it return true from this function? Does anyone remember? Return true to cancel navigation bubbling. So that is wrong. Kind of return false all the time. We're just taking notes of it. Nothing can go wrong here. Totally nothing can.
Yeah.
My fingers just go for hot reload for some reason. Anyway. Right. Tap. AB. Pull down. Hey, it's reverse. Yay. And let go. And it returns. Okay.
Nice.
All that works. So functionally, it works. But
yes.
End 1. Okay. Pull down. Oh no, I need to I do actually need to recreate the route. That's hot reload. Did that work? Yes. All right, let's go into there again. A B, pull down. Okay, so now my finger, I let go, returns. Pull down, let go.
Nice.
Down, let go. So what's happening right now is my finger only has to go a few pixels to drag down most of the screen. And that's that difference between us going from 0 to 1, which fractionalizes the entire screen, on our transition. So this is me disassociating the amount that you're moving to the actual transition that's occurring. We can customize that, right? So we probably could do a couple of little things. Let's do half. We can obviously pass this in, and we could do some other things. When we have a trigger point, right? So when at the end, if our animation controller is past its halfway point, 0.5, right? Then we're saying that we want it to, this is when we want it to dismiss the route, right? So we say route of context, pop, routes, modal route, context, pop. So we can pop it directly. Okay, we'll just do navigator. Oh, why are you doing that, AI? That's stupid. No. I tell you no, damn it. Else we'll have it ping back. Should we have it bounce? Let's have it bounce. Bounce out. Crash and burn, apparently. You have popped off the last page of stack. Yes, that would be correct. We get multiple events occurring, and therefore it's trying to pop multiple times. I'm assuming right now. So we need, well, let's continue and just have it crash and burn. Right, restart whilst we're doing that. So what we actually needed to do is either have a flag to set transit, maybe just flag closing, popping equals false. Yeah, popping. So if popping is false, then we're going to do all this. Otherwise, popping's true. Yeah, so we can't re-enter in on that.
Yep.
We can actually put that. Yeah, actually, all right. Need to focus that box anyway. AB, pull down. Well, it worked, kind of. So I can pull down and let go. Oh, I tapped an article. Pull down, let go. Pull down, let go. But pull all the way down and then let go, and it transitions away.
Oh, okay. It is doing the right thing.
So I think there's a thing here, right? Because I pulled it down hard. It's not, obviously there's work to be done here, right? But the pull down, I mean, there's lots of ways of doing this, right? At the moment, that 1/5 is definitely too short. But I'm also like, well, maybe there should be a fractional to the size of the widget. So that's probably better to actually have the actual transition widget itself determine its fraction, right? So obviously different screens, different sizes. Having this fixed number in there, not a great idea.
Definitely not.
Let's do 500 here. Let's see how that feels. Pull down. Yeah. So that definitely has a better feel to it. So I think fractionally part of the screen. So I'm pulling that down. And although it's parallaxing further, that's the bounce, by the way, at the end. I don't think we'll do that bounce. It's bouncing on the wrong side anyway. I think it was bouncing. Let's do bouncing here for a second. I just wanted to see. It should mean that when it returns, it bounces, right? So if I drag it down, yeah. But because it goes to the drag, we need a reverse animate. We need the reverse curve. of just do ease in out. Yeah, it's not gonna. Yeah, let's not do that. No, I can't be bothered. Ease. Cubic. It's only obviously. Ooh. Okay, that's not what I expected. Hang on. The bounce has a bigger curve to it, so the response that we're seeing on the screen when we were seeing it move was of that 150 pixels a lot compared to this. That isn't that many. See this? I'm not getting the full. So this being this value, yeah, this is why it makes sense to use this as a fractional, right? Because now that value is going to change based on the easing. Yeah, see now I'm getting a different response. Oh, because it closed. Again, those two screens are too similar right now. Anyway, put it down. That closed, didn't it? So it's because it's getting to half of 150, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. All right. So there's things we can do here, right? So there's definitely improvements, but the concept is sound, right? Like it's working. I'm looking let go. It's pulling down from the top of the screen. This is one of the big, more difficult pieces to do, right? And then when you go so far, problem here is the animation. Somehow the it's return. I know what it is. Once we're popping, we're still. Are we? Hang on, let me just confirm something here. I'm just trying to understand here why the animation. Animate 2.0 is not being called, right? Ah, no, it's this. It's this flag I changed. That's what it is. Hang on. Okay, sorry. What I'm trying to work out is why was it returning after? Why was it returning back up the screen? It was that. So we get the second event come through. False doesn't match anymore, which would have not matched this top when it would have animated to 0. All right, so now pull down, let go. Nice. So pull down a bit, pull down a lot, let go, transitions out.
Nice.
So we could. This is transitioning over half the screen right now. If we link up these numbers correctly and do that, as I said, I'm not going to do it right now because we've been going too long. But if we change this next time to being based off the actual size of the context, the render object, or we change this to be pixel driven, then there's probably maybe a 1-to-1 that might make things, and then the curve gives you the parallaxing. And then it also means that what I'm thinking here out loud is we can say when you pop, animate to 1. So this completes the animation down the screen in this situation. So we'll see something of that now, but it's not going to be full height of the screen until this is 1.0. I could double this, and then this would need to double here for it to get the same reaction. Hang on. Let's see if this feels right. A, B. So pull down, let go, goes up, pull all the way down and let go. That's nice, isn't it? This needs to be a package. I made a package.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, this is too nice. This is so if this is just the height of the screen, I reckon this is like a perfect pull down kind of simple couple of widgets, right? Because look, this is like you can't obviously feel this right on the screen, but you get that kind of resistance feeling here, right? Which is supernatural. And I've done nothing here but the standard kind of animation flow with a curve. I mean, we could also parameterize the curve so you can get different effects. And if you pull down enough, it completes. I mean, that is exactly what I wanted.
Cool.
That's super nice. So that wasn't too difficult. So shall we just briefly, before we run this up, let's explain what's going on here, shall we?
Sure.
So we have So at our highest level in our route, we have an overscroll pull down transition. This is applying the entire transition of pull down to every bit of widget hierarchy that's inside of your route, right? Now you can use a page route builder and put this in there. You don't have to do a custom route like we're doing here. This was to give us this opaque false, which is no, I think there was some other things we're doing here. I can't remember why we chose to do it this way. But you certainly don't need to make a custom route class like this and override things. Anyway, so we got our override, our overscroll pull down transition. Now, then around the widget that we're actually trying to apply the overscroll pull down to, we wrap that widget. Now, at the moment, this is, where the hell did I put it? In the search overlay, there it is. So we wrap this around our episode list, which has the list view inside. So as you scroll, those scroll notifications bubble up in the view hierarchy, going up, and they eventually end up in our where was it? Our scroll notification listener here. Now, the way that we've done this is that we use this wrap function so that we use the scroll configuration. This behavior is what's used by the list view when it needs to work out what configuration it needs to show its extra Chrome, as they call it. This is the extra components like a scroll bar and whatever else. This is how you get the different effects around your scroll view, right? So by us doing this wrap, what we're now doing is providing our own behavior, and all the behavior does, there's a little bit up here actually, I'm going to put it down to the bottom. All it does is it overrides the scrolling indicator being our overscroll pull down, and we override that. We override the indicator because we want to say show lead and set to false. That's so we don't get that scroll glowing at the beginning. I have a feeling that there might be a way of doing this where we don't need to do this, but this works out just as well, and it seems well structured.
Yep.
We can also have this wrap another behavior, and that way we can just don't have to use this one. We can clue into whatever the behavior was there before. And the key thing here is that when we get these scroll notifications, we're getting the overscroll ones, and that gives up, we set that on our parent transition. And then when the end scroll comes in, we notify that event so that we can then action on that. Kind of interesting here, though, looking at this now, we could use that scroll notification observer. So there might be a pattern here where we could use this observer pattern. Where was it? With the register, the add listener and remove listener. It might be a way that we can actually register the transition as the listener. So those scroll events go straight to the transition and avoid this listener behavior here, which might be good as well. But now those events go up the tree. Go up to that the transition at the top. This basically just handles the moving the slide transition here is what actually does the animation, right? So this just transitions the position of the widget and then around the animation. And in this case, we're using the tween of the offset to do that with a curve, so we get the most impact. And then again, we're just controlling our animation controller and deciding that sort of decides on where we're at in the process of the actual full animation. I think that does it really. I mean, I feel like there should be more to this, but there's not that much, to be fair. Do you want me to put this? Should I put this in a? Who's interested in this? Should I put this in a
gist?
A gist. I think that this is gist worthy, right? Because it's self-contained.
Yeah.
And people can just go play with it and copy it and do whatever. So I think it's kind of a nice one as well.
As long as it doesn't give away the rest of your secrets, but cool.
Secret sauce.
Yep.
Cool. Okay, so what am I doing here?
Making a gist. Checking.
Yeah, no, I'm just thinking about, do I want to put like an example in here of what you need to do? Maybe there's also doing a static not wrap, but yeah, let's have route. Route builder. I don't know. I was just thinking you could do something like this where we use the page route builder. The thing is, you kind of want to fire over the rest of the parameters. It's kind of annoying. What am I doing? No, I don't want that. That's all inside. What we actually need in here is opaque, false, and I mean, it depends on what you want. I feel like this is probably asking for trouble. I suppose you can just still do your own, so it doesn't make any difference. Scroll duration. That we need is a anything else want to pass across? I don't think so. I mean, that should get us where we want to be. I know it's just a convenience wrapper. And I think there's room here to put a little comment in here. And then example. Where was it? Let's do sure.
How do you get 3 slashes in there? There you
go. Yeah. Do something like if you builder. Just want to put like a quick visual example for someone to like copy paste, right?
Sure, sure.
Writing comments suck.
Just use augment to do it.
Well, it is suggesting, but it's also like you're writing comments. I'm not going to help you. No, it probably would if I gave it a chance, but I'm just like it's also going to be just slower than I need it. Right. Yeah, that's actually this. There you go. Up, AI, down. Then we scrolled. Sure. Let's add some documentation from AI. Why not? That's.
Steph says, "What? Augment won't write comments?" Yeah, but he's just not letting
it. Will. Yeah. No, I just wasn't letting it. It's just easier for me to type it. Come on. Thank you. You have fully comment code for once.
Yeah.
That I didn't write at all.
For a change.
make this configurable. Yeah, sure.
New video out. Watch before you build anything from the DevRel team. They're really cranking out those videos the last couple of weeks.
Right. Let's go upload that somewhere. Right. You can do your tap dance for a second.
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, let me quickly read through the 341 updates here. I have it on a page there. So basically, merged threads on Linux. So the UI and raster threads have been merged in Linux. Font weight now controls the weight attribute of the variable fonts. So it's really doing what it's supposed to do.
I don't do what I'm doing now then. Brilliant. Remember, I was having to do the separate font weights because of that, right?
Right. No, yeah.
Maybe someone's been watching my videos.
Apparently it's fixed. Okay. There's some Material 3 updates. The iOS widget has 37 missing widgets have been added to Cupertino style.
Yes.
And existing widgets like Cupertino button and Cupertino text field have been updated, and new carousel view widget has been added. That sounds like fun. So it was worth a 341. It's worth a big jump.
So is these release notes on Medium?
Yeah, it's released today. The release notes came from a Google search. So
do you want to put the link?
You can't really do that. But well, here's just release notes. I think. Let's see. I think they're probably. It doesn't actually. A Flutter change like here. I'll just put this link. This is about as close as it's going to get to where am I to be able to type to you? How about this right there? There we go. So that's the release notes, and from there is linked the change log and also the breaking changes. So that would be a good thing to look up first. See what the breaking changes are. Let's see. Contains semantics is now is semantics. Find child index callback is now find item index callback for list view and serverless view. And there are some Material 3 tokens being updated. Those are breaking changes.
Right.
Cool.
Great public gist. Go.
Yay. Justify that.
Right.
Justify my code.
Yeah, the link is in the chat and on the screen. So that's everything we kind of did there with that pull down. It'd be nice, I guess, to I didn't do an example show that you need to put the transition around there. It'd be good to extend that concept to the back connection, back control navigation thing that we're talking about. It's a very similar concept.
Right.
Anyway.
Right. The can pop stuff, right? All that stuff.
Yeah. Pop gestures. Yeah.
Cool.
All right, everyone. Thank you very much for joining us, and we'll see you the same time, same place next week. Bye.
Bye.